Probably live.
Maybe live.
We're live. We're live. It's happening. It's real. The dream is real. Hello. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? We are both here. We're just, well, I'm just getting my act together. It has been a week and a day.
Getting my act together.
Oh, he's funny. He's funny.
One of us has to be.
Yeah. The other one's just tired. It's up to you guys to guess which one is which.
Oh, look, we're live.
Hey. Thanks, YouTube notifications. Okay, right. This doesn't need to be here. Be gone. Here's one stool. Where's the other? Oh, it's there, yeah.
I don't know, but I'm taking this.
Yep.
Putting it here and going, huh.
I'm going to move that to
Good
there.
afternoon.
Cool. Right, I think we're good.
Is the door locked? No, it's not locked.
It's not.
Because there is a planned interruption.
Yes.
There may even be two unplanned interruptions.
Yes, I think there's only going to be a single one. Yeah, there's a customer who's coming in to pick up a PC within the next half an hour, I'm expecting. So at some point I will just randomly just take off my mic and go and deal with that. And hopefully he won't be super awkward. Yeah, otherwise I think I'm there. Oh yeah. Face light. Illuminate.
Get faced or something? I don't know.
What's the bottles? This bottle is fancy cola. It's not Coca-Cola. It's very interesting cola with Madagascan vanilla. It's from Marks and Sparks, and Caradog is responsible for that. So yes. And then we've got a gift. Quentin sent in a this bottle of Lindisfarne, I think that's pronounced. Lindisfarne mead. So yes, we'll
Very well.
have a tipple of that. Thank you very much.
You at no point told me that was completely on frame.
Oh. My bad.
Friggin' half of it.
My brain is completely empty today. It's been such a hectic week, and I'm just like, just get through the day. One more day and it's the weekend. Just get through this afternoon, and
There
then
will be so much abuse.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass all of this stuff down because you're sitting over there apparently. I'll keep the knife just in case. That's the Jiggler.
It's your CRU.
Yes. One of the most useful tools in my workshop. It's a mouse jiggler. You plug it in and it emulates a mouse that just moves a couple of pixels left and right every 10 seconds. So you just plug it into any computer and it will just keep the mouse moving now and then so it doesn't go to sleep. And people are just like, oh, you could just turn off power saving and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, A, you can't always do that because you might be like in the middle of a data transfer and you might not have the UI available to you. And B, also, you don't have to change any settings. You just plug this in and the computer doesn't sleep. Genius. They're so good. So good. Underrated tools. Really hard to find, though.
Yeah, because you keep getting results for Giggolos instead.
Yeah. And they ask about how magnets work and stuff like that, and it's terrible. It's like me, it doesn't sleep. I sleep. I just don't sleep at the right hours.
Have you at any point this week been asleep before 5 a.m.?
No, I'm not that bad. Actually, in all seriousness, I'm always asleep by 2. Like, I might not go to bed until like 1:30,
okay.
But I will be asleep by 2 o'clock. But also just, I seem to need to run on a lot of hours of sleep. Like, if I don't get a solid 8 hours, I'm non-functional. So like, people who tell me,
I'd hate to see that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This is me when I've been having like 8 hours and I'm always tired, you know. I probably have some kind of syndrome that goes along the lines of deficiency of just about everything or something like that, you know.
Deficiency of water, iron,
yeah,
vegetables, overabundance of beige.
Yeah. Too much VR chat? No, not that much. Not that much. Although, well, last night I was up a little bit late because I was after the usual VR chat meet that I go to on Friday nights. I was anticipating going to a rave that I thought was on, and it was starting at 1 a.m. and I'm like, I can manage that. Go to that for half an hour, 40 minutes, and then go to bed, be in bed before 2 a.m. However, this was in coordination with Slime VR, and so 1 a.m. came around. I'm like, I had a Kit Kat, had a decaf coffee, so I've got a hot drink and a chocolate bar in me, and I'm like, good, ready to go. Let's do it. And I join in on Xerox, who is the event coordinator for Slime, and just immediately drop into the avatar testing chamber where Xerox is just doing the weekly calibrate and chat where they go through troubleshooting and stuff like that. I'm just like, this is not what I expected it to be. Check the event schedule. It's next week. I'm like, and Xerox's like, hey, you don't normally come to these. How you doing? I'm like, this is not the rave. I'm going to bed now. Good night. So yeah. Graham puts on 64 body trackers. Actually, VR chat only supports 12. I think. Might be 14. Something like that. Anyway.
For when your avatar... Anyway.
You're probably not getting 8 hours sleep if it's actually tracked. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm in bed for longer than 8 hours, but you got to account for time of sleep and like if you wake up at some point in the night and stuff like that. Either way, I feel extremely sensitive to not actually getting an actual 8 hours. But whatever, I don't know what that's all about. All right. Okay. Anyway, that is the opening statements. So we don't really have anything specific planned today. We were going to chat about some stuff and things. I'm going to shove that. I'm going to have a tidy up of the YouTube rig because Caradog was just like, you still haven't put that Elgato card in it. And I'm like, cool, I'll do that now then, I guess. And
I'll be forced into doing things again.
And we're probably going to talk about Broadband as well because my contract is up for renewal at the end of the month, I think.
It will have expired by 1st November. I don't know what the actual date is.
We're at the point where it's time to actually pull the trigger on a new thing. So we're probably going to have a look at that and go, let's order some goddamn Broadband.
Body trackers and mouse jigglers combined will keep you awake.
This is an interesting combination that I had not considered. Yeah.
Tens machine, body trackers, mouse jiggler.
Have 10 pints and you'll sleep. Yeah, probably.
And no, I haven't done what you said, JD, because I have been driving since you sent me a message.
What was JD forcing upon you?
Signing up for events.
I see.
Yes.
Very well.
Messaging people, doing things.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm going to try some of this mead. This is one of those bottles where I'm never sure how much to have in one go because it's a...
unit.
It's a 70 centiliter, it's 700 mils. So, like, I don't want to have a pint of it. And also, you wouldn't have a pint of it anyway because it's 14.5%.
I mean, that's only wine.
Yeah, I guess. But you wouldn't have a pint of wine, would you?
I mean, that's 3/4 of a bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I wouldn't have a pint of wine. I'd have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
How much is a glass of wine? 300 ml?
No.
Or probably less. Oh, hang on a sec. Right. I will return, everyone.
And now disappearing into the nether realms.
Yes.
Help. There we go. Yes. 2 fingers. Dana, thank you for your super chat of $10. Thank you for your recent Dell Precision video. It was very educational and professional. You even found the correct capacitor replacement. Yes, I saw that as well. The heckin' big boy laptop repair. It's very good. Approximately 1 mega pint of wine. I don't want to know how much a mega pint is. Also, yes, having 2 fingers worth covers an awful lot of things. Monaco Man is back. I do. I return. Hello, Sleepwalker. Yes, we were Broadband. That's what it was. I made minor discoveries during the course of the week that possibly might be able to bully EE into actually taking this address, telephone number combination, and actually giving a telephone line and broadband at the speeds that we were wanting. Because the reason for the issue was that there are 3 different addresses for this shop, all called 3B Salisbury Street. And excuse me, one of those addresses is marked up to be able to take fibre to premises, but the other 2 are only able to accept ADSL and aren't going to get upgraded, because according to the system, the address has already been upgraded to fibre to premises, but those 2 addresses are just wrong, effectively. And what we were thinking we might have to do is move the telephone number into some sort of virtual hosting thing, into a SIP system, something like that, so the telephone number was safe and held completely separate to all of the broadband, all of the telephone lines, so we could just cancel contracts, move to new places, sign up as a new customer. However, it looks like with a small amount of fandangling and some unfortunate forced purchases of telephones, that EE will accept, as a new customer, this address, the old telephone number, and give fibre to premises, and give a telephone line that will actually be able to receive calls on the old shop number. Therefore, fixing all of the problem and wrapping it all up into a neat new package with the correct address on it, and moving it into a VoIP number as well. So yes, that was the plan. That's what we were looking to do, and basically it was going to be playing around with that. Unfortunately, around here, our options for fibre to the premises are BT or EE, because no altnets have dug up the road, and just ultimately all of the ISPs are ultimately going to be using OpenReach, which is ultimately BT, and BT gets the best servicing on, you know, those lines. So yeah, so that's the best kind of thing that we had, and it was basically a case of, yeah, we were going to just possibly look at that. But yeah, it's a case of it's really, really stupid because the exchange is right there. Honestly, from the front of a shop, you can look out of the shop and see the exchange and basically just go, why can you not give me fibre? And it's all because of the addressing. So yes. I realise I have not set up capture to run from this. Yes, your exchange is close to Si. You could probably drill through a wall, maybe electrocute yourself, but then you'd end up in an exchange. But yes, EE, PlusNet, BT, yeah, they're all functionally the same, but EE is the brand that BT wants to go forward with for all of its consumer small business stuff, and it's the one that it's putting most of its new sort of domestic packages on. So it's worth looking at EE for it, just because those are the people who are actually offering the new packages at the moment. But yeah, we managed to sort of build an option. Also, I need to remember what Graham's new Wi-Fi password is. I think it's that. So yes. Shame the routers are crap. As long as the modem itself is fine, you can then just swap that router and so on out anyway if you care. Let's see if that works. Ah, that appears to have worked. There we go. Working. Virgin has a really spotty coverage, certainly down here. Basically, nowhere that I know of actually has coverage on it. So yes, I will just see if there's some sort of map or something like that, because I'd imagine that the closest to us is miles away. Scotland, north, the south. There you go. Right.
You don't have license numbers anymore.
Right. Let's see what we've got. Oh god. All of these places are nowhere near. And this is supposedly the area of coverage that's close to us. So no, there is no Virgin around here. So yeah.
Do you mind if should we just pop this on the if you're going to wait for the pickup? Otherwise I've kind of got to stand around like a lemon for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to kick you out.
Yes, BT gigabit fiber to premises. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. It's a shame that the upload speeds are meh on it, for, you know, to be completely honest, because obviously, in my opinion, at least up to the like 500 package, it should be synchronous. So, you know, 500, 500, 300, 300, whatever packages they're offering. But yeah, it's unfortunately just not got the uploads that it should be, which is the massive benefit of altnets, because basically everything they're doing is synchronous. So yeah, I was looking, poking around for all of the altnets I could find, actually to see if any of them were covering our office address, because we're in a similar but possibly worse situation for address kind of tokening and so on with our office address. Because also from our office we can literally throw something out the window and hit the exchange, but no one will even offer us broadband. The fastest speeds that anyone will offer the office is a new contract. It's something like 13 megabit, which is basically unusable in these days, especially when there's like 10 users. You're leaving. Are you going to get a glass?
I am getting a glass.
And by a, do you mean several? Mug.
Right.
Receptacles.
I realised as I was doing that, I was doing it right in front of the microphone, so, you know. Okay.
Yes. TalkTalk's customer services are beyond shocking. I mean, based on the very limited experience I have of dealing with them, they are not bothered about whether you have a connection or not, simply whether you are continuing to pay. Turn on cinema mode. No, not cinema mode.
On your watch?
Yeah.
For an immersive experience?
Yeah. So you don't get distracted by notification noises or the screen lighting up.
Okay, so just silent mode then?
Yeah, but also so the screen doesn't turn on. Because
Okay,
when you
yeah.
move the watch around the sun, the screen turns on.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah. And if you had a purely white background, this screen is like 600 nits or something, or like 900 nits. So actually it's just kind of
Yeah.
suddenly flashbanged.
Initially you'd be like, why? But then you remember that you do actually need to be able to see it under sunlight. So yeah.
Because you just randomly have that flashbang
Yeah.
on, and you're just like, oh!
Do you know that one meme of Limmy, the Scottish dude, being woken up in bed by light shining off his go?
Yes.
Basically that, yeah. Okay, right. Yes, sir, the new computer does have cables. I'm going to try this mead. I'm getting drunk.
Kids these days, it's all mead.
I remember at one point when just pear cider was all the rage, and it was just like the super trendy thing. Let's make mead the trendy thing. Cool, right.
Let's make drinks mead.
All right. I'm gonna measure out some of this.
I'm gonna measure out some of this.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start with that for now. Are you gonna try some of this? Or are you still on coffee?
I will do.
I'll let you.
Thanks.
Cheers, Quentin. Thank you very much.
It's thinner than I was expecting.
Yeah, same. Although, as I say, I can't remember the other stuff was. It smells very sweet. Yeah, I suppose it's got honey in it. So yeah, of course it would be.
This is very different to the other one I had.
Ooh, yeah.
It's way more kind of sweet white wine.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Than the other one I had.
When you say the other one, are you thinking of the ice cider? Oh, the other mead.
The other meads I've had.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, those ones were much more syrupy by comparison.
Interesting, yeah, because I'm comparing this to the ice cider, which was definitely a lot more syrupy and had the same kind
Frozen.
of... Yeah, had the same kind of strength to it, but the ice cider was, I want to say sickeningly sweet, but that is kind of... Saying that the ice cider was sickeningly sweet would be doing it a disservice. It sounds like it was unpleasant, but it was more of a kind of... it's like a sauce, you know. It's you can have a sauce that's very potent but still very tasty kind of thing. But the ice cider, I tried drinking like a wine glass worth of that in one go, and it didn't go well. You know, like it was very nice, but it gave me a headache within half an hour kind of thing, and I was like, that was a mistake. You know, should have just had a tipple of that at a time. Whereas this, I think, without having a wine glass of it, I feel like is a lot more drinkable. Yeah. Still very nice. Yeah, I like it a lot. Same as the other one that I liked, yeah.
Choose your package.
Choose my package. Big. Bigly. Okay,
Do you want to be a big shot?
Do you want to be a big shot? All right. What is a mead? Well, for those of you who don't know, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. A vatted blend of honey, locally drawn water, fermented grape juice, and natural spirits. Oh, yeah, so it's not apple-based. I don't know why I thought it was.
No.
So, yeah, it is a sweet white wine. It is a white wine sweetened with honey, I think that makes sense, doesn't it?
Kinda. I wouldn't say sweetened with, only because it is made by fermenting the honey. And so on with it.
True.
So it isn't sweetened as in the honey isn't added to something
It's part
later
of the process.
on, but the honey is a part of the process.
Yeah.
It's a honey wine.
Yeah, because normally when you're making wine, you would add sugar. Whereas instead of adding sugar, you've added honey as the source of sugar for the yeast to feast upon. So yeah, fermented with honey.
Interesting. Apparently there are meads you can have which have spices and grains in.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, but just, interesting.
Like, it makes sense that, the original mulled wine was probably a mead.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Right. I'm going to whiz through the chat because I've not done a lot of interactions. And for the record, there's been some comment recently. There were some comments on last week's video about people going sort of, I liked this more because there was more chat interaction and stuff like that. For the record, I do try to interact with chat as much as possible. However, I'm going to try and make a conscious effort to do so even more so. However, just sometimes it's hard to keep up while holding a conversation and doing something at the same time, and it's just how it goes down, basically. But yeah. Right, either way, I'm going to whiz through the chat. Bold, thank you very much. Hello again. Am I pronouncing your name right? Because obviously you're a regular in the thing and in the Twitch chat, and in the thing,
in the stuff.
Yeah.
The places.
However, I sort of go behold, and I'm never sure if I'm saying it right. But yeah, YouTube changing the homepage UI again. Less but much bigger thumbs. That's kind of modern design now. It's just make all the thumbnails and the pictures huge, and the information density goes down. And yeah, it pisses me off as well. I hate it. I don't use the YouTube homepage, so I haven't noticed. Because imagine using the YouTube homepage. I see. Yeah, that's just modern design. If you look at look at Amazon, look at eBay. Nowadays, you look at modern eBay, you can get about 6 items per page if you're on the grid layout, and it's just like it's wild. And that's 6 items, assuming you're at like 1920 by 1200.
Yeah.
It's buck wild. Yeah, I hate it. I hate everything about it. Information density is horrendous in modern design. It's all about just big pictures.
Your channel is eligible.
Eligible for what?
I don't know. I'm signing you up for things.
I see.
Also, you never replied to my message of whether I could have the Adamant IT assets.
Oh, right. Yes. I will. Yes. After you sent me that message, I then uploaded them to the Adamant IT Google Drive because they're on my personal drive at the moment, and I was then going to share the link to you and say here they are.
That's fine.
And then I forgot.
I also attempted to draft the messages to be as suspicious as possible with 0 context.
I see. Well, I still don't know what the context is, so yeah.
Sign over all of Adamant IT.
Yeah.
Here, just sign here, and here.
Also, according to Treb reckons that they've added a little bit of purple into the YouTube logo, and just the YouTube red accents now have a little bit of blue in them where they were 100% red previously. It says he did a comparison, did a color picker. And it used to be like 250 red, and now it's like 240 red and 40 blue.
Apparently it's 234 red, 51 green, 61 blue.
So yeah, apparently we're being gaslit with a different coloured YouTube logo now. So yeah. Let's see. Pal says, what do you guys do to relax or have fun? I don't even know anymore, if I'm honest. That's legitimately a problem I have, is that I actually have a problem knowing what to do to relax at the moment. I have recently started a playthrough of... I want to play video games, like not streaming. And I have actually started an offline playthrough of Jedi Survivor again, which, by the way, runs a whole lot better now than it used to. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
It runs how it should have done at release.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'm not vindicating it, but... so yeah, however, just... I have to admit, on the weekends, when Sunday morning rolls around, I get out of bed, have a coffee and stuff like that, and I'm like, it's a day off. What do I do now? And I'm like, guess I'll edit a YouTube video.
Do you know what you could do?
What?
You could go out. You could leave your house.
I don't want to.
I didn't ask whether you wanted to. I simply said it was an option.
Yeah. Although that much being said, recently I have been walking into town to get a fry up again recently. Although I want to, that's an expensive habit, so I'm just going to buy eggs and bacon this weekend and do it at home again. But yeah, I have actually had an issue with just not having anything to do in my free time recently. So yeah.
Go to stuff. Meet people. Talk to them.
Need to do it. Yeah, that is the plan. But yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm out reasonably regularly.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no, actually, video games is I do enjoy. Other than that, I do actually have an issue of finding relaxed time at the moment. So yeah. Can you shrink the chat slightly, because chat is scrolling a bit too fast and I'm like missing half the stuff. Because
No, apparently not.
I see.
I'll do it like that then.
Yeah. Let's see, and then right, yeah, I'm just going to back scroll the chat a little bit just so we can. Yeah, okay. Caradog is scrolling chat. He's looking for questions. Question, Graham. Do you think a computer RAM memory module cooler toe put over your RAM? I'm not sure if you're joking or if this is an incredibly butchered way of saying, do you believe in using active cooling for memory?
Because if you're running really high clock DDR5 or super tight DDR5, you should.
Yeah. However, if you're not an extreme memory overclocker, then no, don't
Not
bother.
that extreme, just, 7400.
Yeah, okay, average. Yeah. If you're a memory overclocker, you might want to consider that then. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay, I'm going to start from the top of the chat and work
Oh,
down
there
again.
you go. In answer to your question, for Bald's name.
Ball from Baldur's Gate. Okay, yeah. Combined with
Yes.
Bald, which used to be... Okay. So, yeah, I was about right with Bald then.
Balls.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
B-A with a line above the top. Anyway.
Yes.
Would you rather save data to a 15-year-old 4GB USB or a 1TB micro SD card? Both of those sounds like terrible options,
Yeah,
Heirloom.
but the 1TB micro SD card means I can actually store, 1/18th of my data instead of,
Yeah.
1/100,000th.
Also, if it's 1TB, that sounds like it has to be a half-decent card in order to be that capacity. So assuming that it actually has a real brand name on it and not just 1TF or something like that, then sure.
Yeah, there you go. Go to Monaco with Caradog on his yacht.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
That requires you to have a passport, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Soon TM. Yeah, I'll work on it. Unironically, I am planning on taking a weekend off before Christmas.
Good.
So, yeah. I'll just take a Saturday off, not because I've got something going on, but just have a Saturday off, just so I can just stay up super late on Friday, pull an all-nighter, see some American friends who, like the VR chat meetups I go to on Fridays. That's the European meet. There is a North American meet that then happens at NA evening times.
Yes.
Which is way bigger, and I really want to go to one of those meetups because that's like a huge VR chat meetup. They usually span at least 2 instances, so we're talking like 80 to 100 people.
That's cool.
And I really want to go to one of those, but that will be at like 3 or 4 a.m. So I can do an all-nighter to do that. I could come home from work, have a nap, and then wake up and then pull an all-nighter. No problem. However, I can't do that and then go to work the next day and do Saturday morning at work and then a podcast in the afternoon. So yeah, I kind of want to just take a Saturday off just so I can just pull an all-nighter over the weekend and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's a thing that's going to be coming up at some point soon. And if someone bitches at me going, oh, you've had a lot of missed streams, I'm going to be like, sometimes I do that, all right? This doesn't cost you anything,
But it will. Well.
It will.
Private only streams.
Yeah, I mean, well, it does cost, if people are already supporting if people are already supporting the channel, then...
No, I was saying private only supporter stream.
I see.
You must pay to be here. We will extract your shekels.
No.
Your shekels will be extracted.
It's entirely possible. Let's do some tech questions, shall we? Donkey Kong says Intel's new 200 series CPUs, 9 gigahertz coming.
No.
It's not. Yeah, they ain't going to get to 900 gigahertz. Like people.
They're 5.4.
Yeah, there've been 9.1 gigahertz world records, but that's 9.1 gigahertz for about 5 seconds before the computer suddenly has a seizure.
Under liquid helium.
Yeah. But yeah, the new 200 series CPUs. Do we know anything more about them other than the announcement yet? We don't have.
No, the actual
for them yet, do we?
reviews will come out in 5 days' time.
Okay, yeah.
They look good in the sense of we should, in theory, see 100 watts less power usage to get the same performance, which is good.
That would be nice. Yeah, like if they
also,
can give
the
us
motherboards are
modest. incremental performance upgrade, significantly lower power consumption, I think that would be a reasonable. I think that would be a reasonable showing from Intel right now.
I mean, based off of their own announcements, it will be the same performance at reduced power.
Yeah. And so that's just going to depend on what AMD come out with, because obviously the 9800X3D is imminent, and we're kind of all holding up. I think everyone is actually holding their breath for the 9800X3D, because obviously the 9000 series Ryzens have not been selling, and AMD are a bit sort of about that. And I think that's because
I don't think they overly care.
Oh well, sorry.
Because certainly they're way less affected by that, just because their chiplet design is actually an intelligent design.
Yeah, at the very least though.
And if no one buys 9000 series, they can just go, oh no, buy it as a server CPU and give us 4 times the profit.
Yeah. Either way though, it's indicative that it looks like the enthusiast scene are all holding their breath for the X3D chips. Yeah. Because why wouldn't you at this point?
Yeah, and based off of what Wendell didn't say last night on his stream, or 2 nights ago on his stream, we should expect another CPU launch really soon. I wonder what that would be. If it's not the Intel stuff that's coming out, I wonder what that would be.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of no secret that the X3D chips were like any second now from AMD. So yeah. Right. Recall function. I want to talk about Microsoft Recall at some point. I'm just going to quickly scan, see if there's any quick ones before I get to that, because I think that's going to be a bigger discussion. You lot have missed a lot of streams. Okay. Hi, Floor Lamp. How you doing?
Stop it.
Stop trying to ban Wild Floor Lamp. I mean, I would as well, but,
Wild Floor Lamp is now moderator. No!
Wild Floor Lamp is now forcing me to learn BGA soldering. No! Don't make me. You can't make me.
He just turns up at the shop.
There's nothing wrong with...
Rework station in hand.
QFN did nothing wrong.
And he's just there. Suitcases, equipment. He's like, we've got to renovate this place.
Okay. Best place to get an M1 MacBook? eBay. You can get an M1 MacBook Air on eBay. They were going for about 350, 360 on eBay UK, but the price has been creeping up, and now I think you need to spend about 400 for an M1 MacBook Air on eBay, with the Pros being about 100 quid more. The price on them is going up at the moment. A lot of the ones that are sub £400 all have some kind of screen fault, which is extremely frustrating because people are expecting to get people have got laptops that have got a massive black bar down the middle of the screen, and they're expecting to get £40 less than the going rate for it. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. The replacement screen is £160, £170, something like that. So no, that means your laptop is worth £170 less than the going rate, because that's how much it will cost to fix that problem. But yeah, the price on them is creeping up, which is very annoying because it looked like for a moment the M1 MacBook Airs were the bargain of the century. But yeah, as I say, I think they were just in a price dip, and they've gone back up. Thankfully, I have 2 of them in my possession, which is this one and one on the shelf.
That's what you think.
No, you may not appropriate my MacBook Air. I need this for doing DFU restores. So yeah. Also, just random aside, is the Australian keyboard just a US keyboard? Because that apparently is an Australian keyboard. And I'm like, I think that's just US.
I couldn't work out what was wrong with this, but this keyboard was not the same as the one on my Mac, and that really confused me for the longest time. I was like, what's different about this? Why is it different? What's wrong? And it's just different to the UK layout one, but I couldn't work out why it felt so different when I was like...
it's ASCII layout.
Yeah, but I couldn't work out why it felt so wrong initially when I was like, it's only a couple of keys different.
Yeah.
Why does it feel so broken?
So what was it then?
I don't know. I just got used to it. But I was just like, I couldn't work out why it was so weird and wrong.
Yeah, because I was going to say that is just US layout. So
Yeah.
who knows? Oh well. Fine. Okay. Are M1s worth getting? I think so. I think the M1 Macs are awesome bang for buck right now, and I think if you're buying second-hand Macs, I think it's a really good place to be because, as far as I'm concerned, Intel Macs are dead in the water. Like, even though there's a couple of good ones out there still, like the 2019s and early 2020s, but let's face it, Apple are going to drop Intel like a stone as soon as they possibly can.
I mean, if they were going to do that, wouldn't they have already done it? Because
They're waiting for the 5-year marker.
This is the 4th year.
Yeah, like I think they're waiting for the 5-year marker. As soon as I will be,
Well, at that point, it's also the case of where it's a 5-year-old laptop. What do you expect?
I guess, yeah, I suppose. I don't know, but then on the other hand, yeah, I think given the fact that the M1 Macs are affordable on the second-hand market, I think it's a no-brainer to buy an M1 right now.
As long as you're happy with it being a 12-inch or 13-inch or whatever it is.
Yeah. If you want the bigger or professional ones, it's going to be more. But that's
if you
the
want a
Apple
laptop
tax.
with a usable screen,
Yeah. How do you get data out of a Mac when the SSD dies?
you don't.
Your backup, because you back up, right? Right.
You don't.
Yeah. And I know that's not how it works, and yeah, it sucks. Don't get me wrong, I still don't like Macs because of repairability and stuff like that. But if you're going to buy a Mac, yeah, like this is the thing. At the end of the day, no matter what I think of Apple, I would have customers who want a Mac. They are not open to discussion on that. They are not available to be persuaded. They want a Mac. So which one are you going to sell them? The era of easily repairable Macs and Macs where you can upgrade the RAM and Macs where you can change the SSD. It's all gone. It's all soldered. It's all unupgradable. Deal with it. That's where we are now. I don't like it any more than you do, but that's where we are. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You just ship them to that one guy in Bournemouth.
It's funny you should. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to my friend the other day who's got a 2015 MacBook Pro, and he's just like, oh, my Mac's kind of old and I can't afford a new one, blah blah blah. I was like, get an M1, they're cheap. And he's like, oh, and I said the price. He's like, oh, that's not bad actually. I'm like, however, that's not going to have a terabyte of RAM that your 15-inch Pro has. That your 2015 Pro has.
A terabyte of RAM.
Sorry, a terabyte of SSD.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's one of these people who wants to store his entire world on one device. External storage is not an option.
Yeah.
And he's got a massive uncompressed music library. Yeah.
Why would you want to store that on a laptop?
Doesn't matter. That's where he wants to put it. He's not available for negotiation on this. So he needs to have a terabyte of storage.
Put it on a desktop.
He needs to have a terabyte of storage. And I said, well, I know a man in Bournemouth who's the kind of guy who would be like, yeah, I'll try and put a terabyte of storage in an M1 Air for you. So yeah, we'll put that in the mental microwave. So yeah, they are upgradable if you want to pay the extra premium, unless you're Dave Bob. It's exactly that. So yeah. Sheep will still buy Mac. Well, I don't know. I kind of don't want to labour the point, because yeah, this is why I don't like Mac. I don't think Mac is a smart place to be at the moment. But at the end of the day, if you're not a tech savvy person, this would come. Let's say that you're okay. Imagine this. Imagine you're a Windows user, and imagine that the rest of the world used Linux. Humour me. Imagine 90% of the world used Linux, and you were a Windows user. However, the cost of Windows laptops suddenly became 5 times the cost of a Linux computer. What are you going to do? Are you going to learn Linux, or are you going to keep using Windows, kind of thing? That's how Mac users see it. They're like, Windows, well, I don't know Windows. And I don't really want to learn Windows. So I guess I'm going to pay the premium for an Apple computer. I'm like, yeah, I'm exaggerating these numbers here, but that's the train of thought here. Tech-savvy people roll with the punches. They just learn a new system. That's what makes you tech-savvy. But non-tech-savvy people, they don't want to learn a new system. They have no interest in learning a new system. They will pay for convenience. They're paying the Apple tax not because it's a premium product, but because it's convenient for them to keep paying it. That's the deal there. So that's the thing. And it's just a question of how far you're going to push that envelope, because that's the problem now, is that a new Mac is going to run you 1,500 quid.
Yeah.
You know, so we're kind of at the point now where like an Apple laptop used to be 900 quid, which was dear for a laptop, but you know, it's still less than $1,000. Now you're paying 1,500 quid for a Mac, and it's got 250 gigs of storage. It's like, So, you know, the metaphor is getting stretched thinner and thinner, but that's still how people see the world, you know. So, yeah. How much is this M1 right now? What is cheap? Well, again, an M1 MacBook Air on eBay will run you about 400 quid. If you shop around and keep your eye open, you might find one for 360, 370, but I would expect to pay 400 quid for an M1 MacBook Air on eBay right now. So yeah, it pains me to say, but they're really, really good, but overpriced. I agree, Stevie H. I was having a conversation with an iMac owner who I put an SSD in a 27-inch iMac this week, and the owner was just like, yeah, I can't buy a new 27-inch iMac. What's with that? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why there isn't a 27-inch iMac right now. Apple have not made an Apple Silicon 27-inch iMac, and I don't know why. And you know, I say to people, I was like, I wouldn't be investing in the Intel Macs anymore if I'm honest. I'd go Apple Silicon. They're like, I can't, because they don't make a 27-inch, and I want a 27-inch screen. And it's like, yeah, what's with that, man? Like, it's not like the 27-inch is rare. It's not like it was an uncommon thing. They want you to buy the Mac Studio and the Apple Display XDR. I think you're correct. But, like, that's an expensive game. So,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Popping up to the top and scrolling down. M1 Pro I see is $13.75 USD. That's brand new. Yeah, we're talking about second-hand prices.
God.
Or at the very least, if an M1 MacBook Pro is $13.75 USD on eBay US, then I don't know what the hell is going on with eBay US at the moment.
God, yeah. Literally the only edition of the iMac that exists is a 24-inch.
Yeah.
But also it's
Where's
a
the 27-inch, man?
It's also a 24-inch 4.5K screen.
Yeah.
What? Why?
I mean, that's going to be really nice DPI. It's Retina DPI, right?
Yeah, but it could also be Retina DPI at like 1440p at that size.
Yeah. I don't understand
That's
why there isn't a 27-inch
wild.
iMac.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even need to put a different motherboard in it. Just put the same motherboard in it. Just put a bigger screen in it.
Yeah.
And
They don't even need to change the resolution of the screen either,
Yeah.
arguably.
Hell, you could just stick a 4K panel in it. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. But yeah. El Armour says, there's a question. What recommendations for a best bang for buck laptop? 400 to 500 and not Apple. Brand new or second hand? Personally, I would be buying a second hand Latitude. And like, because the second hand Latitudes, you can find them with like 10 or 12th gen Intel CPUs in for, you know, probably about 300 to 400 pounds on eBay for a 10th or 11th gen Intel CPU, and that's a really nice laptop. You know.
Yeah.
Have you still got your one? Yeah. Because yeah, can you remember what model number that was off the top of your head?
Latitude 5520.
Yeah, Latitude 5520. Look that up.
Which is like the 15 point. I think it's the 15.6 i5 11th gen.
Yeah.
And it was like 260 quid, I think.
Yeah.
But the price on them has gone up massively.
Yeah.
So it's a case of them on like 350 now, from what I've seen.
Yeah. Chris Herford said low-end users should switch easier between OS if all they do is click on icons. It depends on the person, because this is the thing. This is really common. Like every time a customer buys a new laptop from me or upgrades or something like that, they say, "Oh, is it like my old one? Is there anything I need to know?" And I'm like, there's kind of no straight answer to that, lady, because there are some users where if you move an icon from one side of the screen to the other, then they'll go, "Oh," and they'll click on it there instead. Whereas there are other users where they've memorized that the icon to get to the internet is third down on the left. And if you move that icon anywhere else, they can't use the computer. And this is kind of a customer issue. You know, I often say to customers, I say, you know, people go, "Oh, I can't learn different systems. I need it to be the same as it was." I'm like, look, if you get a new car and the headlight switch is on the right instead of the left, you don't go, "Oh, I can't drive this car." You go, "Oh, it's there." You know, but because it's a computer and you, the customer, have convinced yourself that you don't understand computers, all of your common sense just disappears. You need to just, you know, so you have to find the nicest possible way of saying to the customer, use your brain, basically.
Yeah.
You know, if the internet icon has moved to there, you go, "Oh, that's the internet icon. That's the little green E symbol for Microsoft Edge. That's the one I'm used to clicking on. It's there now. I'll just click there." It's the same. But for some customers, yeah, like I say, you change one thing and they go, "I can't find this anymore." So it's difficult, and some people are really dim-witted to that respect, and some customers will just roll with the punches. So
Yeah.
it's a complete crapshoot.
I mean, my prime example of that from this week was someone saying, "I don't know why it keeps printing stuff when I tell it to print."
I'm not. Are you exaggerating, or is it just? Yeah, you click the print button, it will print it. Oh no!
They were really confused why it kept printing stuff when they weren't asking it to print. But oh, if I click the print button, this paper comes out the printer.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what in the business we call working as intended.
Yeah. I was just like,
I need some more mead.
yeah. So, in other topics of really dumb-witted stuff,
Okay, yeah.
broadband.
Broadband.
Would you like 308 megabits per second download speed
Okay.
with a 150 megabit per second speed guarantee, with an
That's
upload of
Garbage, sure.
with
okay.
an upload of 51 megabits per second
Fine.
for £38 a month with £32 up front?
Okay.
Or would you like 500 megabits per second download,
Right.
425 megabits per second stay fast guarantee,
Better.
73 megabit per second upload speed,
All right.
£35 a month, no upfront fee?
That's more like it.
Would you like to spend £3 less per month,
Yeah.
get a faster speed, a faster guaranteed speed, and have no upfront cost?
Yeah.
Would you like to spend less money and get more?
Yes, please.
Yes.
But also, I'm kind of furious that they are giving us that minimum speed versus versus advertised speed. I'm like, what do you mean? There's a minimum speed guarantee? Why am I not just getting what I'm paying for? This is 2024. We're not on copper anymore.
Because if you don't get that speed, you get a refund. It's just an
guess.
automated Ofcom. You get a refund.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was
It's not the
reading
companies
that.
do not set that speed. Ofcom sets that speed because it's a
That's
percentage
fair,
of
yeah.
percentage of packet speed.
Yeah.
Package speed, and basically, if you don't reach it, it's an automatic. Here's £20 bill credit.
That's
Zero
fair,
question.
yeah.
Literally cannot refute it.
Yeah,
Here's
'cause
20 quid.
The reason why that's a thing is like back in the old days of NTL, people were paying for 100 meg, but you probably would only actually get 60, and like that was
60?
sure.
16?
Yeah, but that was a common problem. That
Yeah.
wasn't just because you lived down the end of a lane with an aluminium phone line trailing down the fence. That was just because you
had the audacity of buying broadband from them,
Yeah.
and expecting a service.
Yeah, and it was just it was kind of wild where people would be like sort of, oh yeah, you're paying for 100, but you're not going to get 100. And it's like, and yeah, thankfully we have regulators in our country who are just like, no. So yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Cool. That sounds tasty to me. Yeah, because like at the moment, I think I'm paying approximately 45 a month for broadband and unlimited phone.
Yeah.
Now, bearing in mind that I'm assuming that this package won't include phone.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Would you like to pay £2.50 a month for some cyber?
I mean, is it good cyber or is it just someone that just says touches your thigh? You know.
I mean, VR chat is free.
Yeah. They said no subject high. No DURP. I saw someone last night who. Sorry, this is an aside, but someone last night rocked up in VR chat and they said, "This is my Halloween costume," and they were just wearing a T-shirt that said "DURP?" on it, and I was like, "Ah!" So.
I was there, Gandalf.
Also, I will get back to chat in a moment. We're doing broadband stuff right now. We have to do it, otherwise I won't do it.
Yes. To add a phone is £5 on pay per call.
Okay. So here's the
and
question.
You can add unlimited, as far as I can tell, at any point, and it takes it to 18 a month, as opposed to 5 a month.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is adding it at 5 a month for pay per call, and then see what you actually pay.
Yeah.
Because if you pay for a month's worth of calls and it's £4 more.
Yeah, I was going to
you're
say
paying £9.
Going from 5 to 18 is quite a jump. Normally, I expect to pay like another £5 to make it unlimited, and in my opinion, that's a no-brainer. Just so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, 5 to 8, that's like another £12 to go unlimited, and that's quite a hike for unlimited. So yeah. Okay, and they're going to be able to import my phone number then, you reckon?
As far as I can tell, yes.
Yeah, because this has been the sticking point of me upgrading to full fibre, is getting the phone number transferred. I was actually intending to move it out into a voice over IP service just to get it out of the equation. However, if they can transfer it, sure. However, I also kind of... hybrid home phone.
Would you like one of these?
God, that looks like it's from 2000.
Yeah, but it's also got buttons that are this big for,
for old people.
For people who refuse to wear their glasses.
Yeah. I like that it looks like it's a Wi-Fi phone. That's kind of neat.
It's broadband and mobile network.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you can make phone calls on it using your home line.
Yeah.
Or using the mobile network if there's a power cut, say.
Oh, I see, yeah. Oh, that's how they're solving the emergency services problem.
The other way they're solving that is with the... Heck, I've pinched and zoomed and broken it. There we go. With just APC UPSs.
Interesting, yeah. For mission critical, yeah.
Yes, you require none of this because you are not 70.
No. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. However, I kind of liked the idea of going to VoIP just so I could just import just so I could move all of the calls onto a business mobile phone instead. I quite like that as a concept, just to be rid of the shop phone.
No.
Like, I'd still have a business phone, but I'd be able to carry that around.
Oh no.
Oh, have you broken
the
it forever?
continue button is here.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
How do I...
EE, OpenReach or BT, they are functionally all the same as far as anyone is concerned, I think.
There we go.
That any differences between EE, OpenReach and BT are purely legal.
The difference is that OpenReach is a network maintenance company, effectively. They are the people who actually work on the DSLAM network.
Yeah. They maintain the infrastructure.
Yeah. EE is a company that sells services on the OpenReach network.
Yeah.
And BT is a company that sells services on the OpenReach OpenReach network and owns OpenReach.
But BT also own EE, don't they?
BT now also own EE.
Yeah.
Yes, and all of the BT domestic services are migrating to EE.
Yeah.
Effectively, they're trying to get people to switch from BT to EE.
Yeah. I don't understand who BT actually is anymore if everything is being sold under EE.
BT is the business. Is going to be the business side. Is going to be the corporate side.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. BT's for business, E for consumer. Yeah, side.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
They are going to, over the next 10 years, migrate it so BT is for businesses of more than 250 people.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And it's effectively going to be leased line and Ethernet only.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
I'm just getting my iPad.
Why?
Because someone just asked what's the best BIOS program, and I'm just going to quickly look that up because I can get access to my Google Docs from here, and I'm going to look up that one that we looked up.
Oh,
I've got an iPad now. A customer just brought in was just like, "Do you want this iPad? It needs a factory reset." I'm like, "Thanks."
Excellent. Would you like a package of TV? No.
So yes,
Would you like
stand by, Dobbin, and I will answer that question. I do not want TV.
No. Check out.
Yeah.
Checking it out.
So yeah, this is the question: Am I going to move the phone out separately so it's separated out from the broadband?
I don't know because I'm going to tell you all about it.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like it would be beneficial to get the phone number out of the broadband system so I can just jump around broadband providers without worrying about losing my business number, basically.
Yes, I know nothing about that.
Yeah.
So I can't particularly comment on that, but yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Tools.
But this is a broadband and home phone call pack and a digital home phone handset.
Fair. Right, sorry, stand by everyone. Where was it?
Continuing to stand by.
BIOS programmer. There we go.
Standing by.
The T48 is the best BIOS programmer at the moment. So if you search for T48 programmer, that's the best one. That's the fancy one. So yeah. And if you want cheap, you buy a CH341A version 1.7. However, it's slow is the disadvantage of it. It works, but it's slow. The T48 is the fancy one.
Where are my 40 gigabit per second programmers?
I just go make a coffee while I'm waiting for it to do its thing.
Unless you're on stream and you're programming at 5 volts.
It was probably fine. That motherboard was dead anyway. So yeah.
Have you actually sent it back?
I have, yeah. Yeah. So yes. Graham, you have only mobile number? No, I have a landline number. So the shop number is a 01747 local landline number, and I've had that for 15 years. So I kind of don't want to lose it, but because of it's not with mobile phone. Mobile phone numbers are really easy. You just get a PAC code and you can just move the number somewhere else. So like, if it was awkward, you could just get like a pay-as-you-go SIM, shunt the number onto that, and you've just moved the number somewhere safe while you dick around with your contracts. But you can't do that with a landline. It's actually quite difficult to move a landline number around. So yeah. What happened to the tool spreadsheet from a few weeks ago? It exists. It is pinned in the Discord. I still need to update it though, but that's where I'm getting most of my information from. So yeah, check the Discord. Does the Discord command work?
Yes.
Cool. Nightbot will wake up at some point.
If it doesn't...
There it goes.
If it doesn't, it works by me going...
Sigh. Sigh.
Boy!
Boy. All right. Anyway, funny. Sorry, we like you really. Please don't leave. All right. Yeah, the Discord works. Anyway, right. Okay. Real talk. So, should I move the number to VoIP or should I just transfer it? It sounds right
to a separate number provider hosting service.
Yeah.
Which is not your broadband, telephone line,
Yeah.
line, something provider.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be really. At the moment, you said it would be £5 to include a phone in this package,
Yes.
and like that's
I
going to be a lot
realised
cheaper.
I should have sent a message to someone and asked them a question.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot cheaper than paying for a separate VoIP service, I feel.
I need to ask.
And I need to get Discord on this. I'm going to read chat while you
Oh,
ask things. Everything is going VoIP in the next few years anyway. I mean, the service that I get, if I get a phone from EE, that will be a voice over IP phone. It will be
Yes.
an internet phone.
It will be an internet phone.
Yeah.
The thing we're
different-
talking about is migrating it out of that package in that
Yeah.
combination.
That's the thing, is the question is whether to get the number out from my broadband package and just being a separate entity. Because at that point, as a separate entity, it will be easier to move it around. And it also means that I can shunt around internet service providers without worrying about losing my phone. And at that point, it will become just a nebulous internet thing, and I'll just have an app on my mobile phone, which is just the business number.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a very cozy place to be for me. I'll check my email as well and just see what the... Because I spoke to a chap... I don't have internet on this thing, email on this thing. I spoke to a chap from some brokerage about it, and he did me a quote, and I said email it to me, so I should have that. If I search my inbox for VoIP,
VoIP?
it's the wrong account. Adamant, VoIP. The VoIP shop phone system quote.
Ah, damn.
Right, unlimited calls, mobile and desktop apps.
Mobile and desktop.
Yep, port and maintain your main number, free support. 40 additional phone features such as music on hold, voicemail to email, call transferring, conferencing, etc. I was like, oh, that all sounds cool. And like out of office as well, so I can like set a I'm away for the weekend message and that kind of thing. You Tom fool! There's no quote here.
Cack.
Okay, wait. There's a PDF. There's a cloud phone. Okay, hold on. If this doesn't have a number in it, then he's basically immediately lost my service. I spoke to this chap on the phone. And I said, that sounds great. Please send me an email with the quotation and I will look at it when I go to move all of my stuff at the end of this month. Okay, there is a quote here. There is a quote. Right. So, Cisco 3CX Cloud Phone System Extension user.
Oh no, it's a Cisco system.
Unlimited calls, all the rest of it, gold level support maintenance, blah, blah, blah. £12. I'm assuming that's ex VAT.
Okay, that's not awful.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Hardware costs.
Yeah.
£20.
There we
One-off
go.
charge. Yeah, £20 setup fee
okay.
and £12 a month. Again, assuming that's ex VAT, but like that's going to be like £15 a month and £23 setup or something like that. So, yeah. Like that's more expensive than getting it with EE, but it gets my number out of the broadband system, which means my broadband is just like electricity. You can just shunt it around anywhere, So that would mean an additional modem. Well, not for the phone.
What?
Yeah. Is there an option to transfer the landline to mobile, keeping the landline number? That's basically what we're talking about. That's what voice over IP is. Can you mix pounds and quids like that? Yeah, a quid is £1. So, yeah, I kind of think I want to go for that. So the next question is, I'm going to wait for you to finish your messaging. Yeah. $20 and $12 a month. Yeah, pretty much. I like that's more expensive than getting it from EE, but I think the additional utility I get from that makes it worth the money.
I realised and entirely forgot that I know someone who does this,
Oh,
and
I see.
entirely forgot to ask someone to ask them to message me because I forgot to. I know them, but I don't have their number.
Ah, yes.
And I was just like, oh, can you get them to contact me if they're comfortable with that kind of cycle of just like.
There's going to be cheaper ones around. I doubt that's a good deal, says Si.
Yeah.
Make me a recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because I know a guy.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because,
Okay, so the next...
they literally sell the SIP service, as in the bundled wholesale service. They are the person right at the level here that's selling it to the companies that sell it to the people.
Yeah, because I'm talking to a broker here, basically. Because it's just like, I couldn't be bothered to sit and I couldn't be bothered to spend a day of my life sifting through eBay, through Google results.
eBay?
Yeah, I'm going to buy VoIP off eBay. I couldn't be bothered to spend a month sifting through Google results looking for deals. It just said the VoIP shop, in the UK, and I was just like, call me, make me an offer,
Yeah.
So use a good ISP comparison site in it. Suggestions. Hit me up. And if you're like, I can't be bothered to do that research, well, neither can I, man. That's why I'm using a broker. So
but it's also a case of what comparison are we going to do for broadband? The options are BT or EE.
Yeah. Why is your landline stuck with broadband? Because that's how it works in the UK. Looking to move your number to a SIP trunk device. That's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Caradog knows many guys. Not just guys.
Indeed.
Some of them are women.
Look up Number Barn. Number Barn.
Some of them are trees. And I listen to their whispering. Wait, no, that's not how the Disney song goes.
Starlink. Anyway.
Yes, I would like to have 500 milliseconds of lag on every request
Barn.
when I have fibre to my property.
I have a friend who's on...
Sorry, what's it called? Oh, Number Barn.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Search your phone number, buy a license,
Yeah.
find enable your number to be automated.
Yeah.
Start a transfer, save your current phone number, park it, save it, boost it. What does that mean?
Park it, save it, boost it.
What does
Pop it!
What does boosting a number mean?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. This is the thing. This is why I use brokers. What does boosting my number mean? This guy's got me a quote. £12. Done. I will pay for convenience because I've got better things to do. So this is why I get annoyed about this kind of things, because
Send calls or numbers to Canadian phones.
I don't want to do that.
We're not in America.
Oh, stream is dying. Okay, hold on.
JD is dying.
View stats. I think that's YouTube. That's not us. That's YouTube.
What's YouTube say?
Well, I say that it's YouTube because...
but what does YouTube say? Does YouTube say we're having problems?
No. Well, you can't tell what YouTube are doing, but where's the stats gone? I had it just then, and then I just immediately closed it. View...
Stats.
There it is, yeah. Can we dock this? I want to dock this. I can't remember how you dock stuff.
How do I dox you? Wait.
Fine, it lives there now. The point is this is stats on our end, so this shows us frames that we have dropped due to network errors at our end or rendering errors, and we have no errors at our end. Therefore, it must be YouTube. There is no error in the data that we are sending to YouTube.
Yeah, and YouTube says we have an excellent connection. So YouTube believes that it's receiving fine from us as well.
Yeah. Everyone refresh. refresh.
Therefore, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's not anything that we can control.
This means refresh. Someone type please refresh into chat.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, if I buy broadband from EE today, is that an upgrade or are we buying a new line? If you see what I mean.
What do you mean by is it an upgrade?
So here's the thing:
do you mean is it transferring your number?
Is it sure? Yeah. Because
as far as I can tell, without going any further than here's the summary of what options you've clicked.
Yeah.
Yes, because I've put in the telephone number. I've said I still want the telephone line, and it said, okay, here's the package you need. You need to have a call package of some kind on that.
Yeah.
Here is the telephones you can make use of that call package.
Okay.
Click continue. Here's the summary of the options you've clicked on.
Right.
That is as far as I've gone.
Yeah. Okay. Because basically, here's the thing. My understanding is that we couldn't upgrade the current connection to fibre because of address shenanigans.
Yeah, which is why it's EE, not BT.
Okay.
Because obviously they're completely different customer databases.
Yeah. So
you'd be cancelling the BT.
Yeah.
And setting up the EE. And that gets managed automatically in the background by the ISPs.
So it's functionally an upgrade.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. As opposed to what I thought was going to happen is that I would be taking out a new package and then having to cancel the old one, and there would be a short period of time where I had 2 active connections.
Oh,
because they're going to install a new line.
You will have to have that happen because it's a fibre connection and you do not have fibre in your shop.
Yeah, they'll be installing a new line.
So a man will have to install the fibre.
Yeah.
Either way, irrespective of what any of the other things that may or may not have happened, you would not have had to have done anything specifically other than go, I need to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because the other company takes over the line. The other company transfers that line into being one of their lines. The other company, if they accept telephone number transfers, which EE now have actually put on their website, takes the telephone number, and you get a call, an email, a notification in your BT account somewhere saying that someone is trying to transfer your account.
Yeah.
If you don't know about this, let us know and we'll cancel it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. While I would love to transfer the landline number out and into a VoIP service, I think that would be really cool. Doing that would greatly complexify this, because what we would have to do is take out a new package of landline that is a separate thing. So I'd effectively be paying for 2 connections, and then I would transfer the landline out, which would cancel the old connection. And that's what I thought I would have to do anyway. So I was willing to do that. However, by the sounds of things, if we just fill out the form and hit go, they will do all of this for me.
I mean, yeah, it's the same result either way around.
Yeah.
But one of them is you have the telephone number with the other one is you have it somewhere else. So, yeah. But either way, you cannot be a BT customer. You must cancel, stop subscribing, end being a BT customer. And whatever words you want to use to describe that, you will stop being a BT customer. And you had to do that to do all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. But the point is, because when I transfer this out, that's going to automatically cancel the old one anyway. So it's automatic as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
From my perspective, it's an upgrade because someone else is handling the cancellation and installation.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas...
Yeah.
Okay. I think I should just take the phone package from EE.
I think that would
because they're
be the most that will be the most congruent system with what you've already got, and it'll be a single bill.
Yeah. You kept our old copper when upgrading to fibre to the premises for free Interesting.
Yeah, you can do that on transfers that happen before something like 2021.
Oh.
I think.
Yeah. Because that requires keeping 2 lines active, which seems
Half.
Yeah.
Because the fibre doesn't count as a line because it doesn't have a number attached to it. It just counts as a broadband connection according to like BT OpenReach. So we're not overly fussed because they can bond effectively an infinite number of broadband packages to an account ID,
interesting.
but they can't bond an infinite number of telephone numbers
Yeah.
technically, because
Yeah.
the telephone numbers have to be bonded to lines, and
Yeah.
because broadband is a new system and telephone is hello 1930s.
Yeah.
So you get different.
Does E
squicky
have
bits.
fibre to the cabinet? No, we're talking about fibre to the premises for everything. Most of the UK is already fibre to the cabinet.
50% of connections are
Yeah.
fibre to premises
In the UK, we have 2 terms. We have fibre and full fibre. And so fibre is fibre to the cabinet, which is what most of the UK is currently on. And full fibre, which is the new one, it's like full HD, which is actually fibre, which is fibre to the premises. So yeah.
Oh, you are signed out of LastPass.
Ah, okay. Let's switch places for a second.
I
I'll
want
type
to.
in
I
the
want to.
deets.
I want to know what your email address is that you are registered with BT with. So I use a different email address.
Ah, yes, understandable. Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That should be possible because there is info and there is shop, and I'll
Yes.
be using one or the other. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, either way, I think I'll go with the E package and I'll go with the E
At the
phone
very
package because
least-
it gets things done.
Clicking on these buttons will allow us to get a confirmation of what's actually occurring.
Yes, this is true. Yeah.
Because they can't actually just disconnect you.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if the worst thing happens, you just reply going, "Ah, I have made mistakes. Please fix me." And they may or may not fix you.
Ba, 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 ba.
LastPass.
Yeah, sorry, for a moment I was just like, can the camera see my phone screen? I'm like, no, there's no planet where someone is reading 2FA codes off of my phone screen right now.
Also, even if they were,
Yeah, of course, but yeah, you never know. I don't know.
I'm sniffing your codes.
Yeah. Oh, also, apparently we missed a...
That was when you were dealing with the customer.
Oh, I see, yeah, oh, that's already been done, cool.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Thank you very much, Dana. I was
Please
like,
check LastPass.
yes. Right, LastPass is now signed in.
Yes. BT. There you go.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, you could sign
I
in.
have now shopped at Mantit.
Yeah, so you could sign up under shop and yeah, which is fine with me.
Please, may I have your passcode from your shop at Mantit email address? Because I have just sent you one. There we go.
Sure. Ah,
Thank you.
that was mine, right? Yeah. Okay.
What, one of them's dark brown?
I don't know if you had to. Shut up. Right.
So how about we do something simple, eh? And you get that their computer and put it on this here desk.
Can I go home? Yeah. You guys use your own modem router. At the moment, I use the BT router at the moment because it's the BT routers for the past 10 years or so. BT routers have been pretty decent, to be honest.
They've been decidedly fine.
Yeah, you have to buy a top-end router to have something that is meaningfully better than a BT router. You know, like in the good old days, ISP supplied routers were garbage, like just single antenna nonsense. However, BT's routers for the past 10 years or so have actually been pretty good, you know.
Sorry, that reminds me of when I first got ADSL fitted in our office. They supplied a Technicolor
Oh no.
ADSL modem router thing. The Technicolor ADSL router modem thing could only do 15 megabit throughput. Yeah, 15 megabit.
Sure.
And it had been bundled with an 80/20 line.
Jesus wept, yeah. BT router is ZTE. You know what? I'm not sure at the moment. They used to use Huawei, but
it depends.
Yeah, they ain't going to be using Huawei anymore, are they?
It's the French one.
Is that ZTE?
I can't remember who the French one is.
Yeah.
For the Home Hub 5? Standard Home Hub 6? Whatever we're on now, as opposed to the Super Hub. You are... No, you're not.
The password is pineapple. Good mead. It is good. I'm enjoying this, actually. I don't know whether I want to keep the rest of it aside for another stream or just keep going.
I think I did.
Talking of which, I'm going home. All right. See you later, Psych. Thanks for dropping by.
I think that's right. Am I wildly out?
Oh, you're out by 1 digit.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. That's more impressive than me. I don't know anyone's birthday. So, yeah.
Please carry out a credit check. No, don't carry out a credit check. I have no credit.
Do not, please. Yeah.
That will be a problem because they have to do one because you're signing up for a contract.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. It should be good enough for that, yeah.
Please,
BT will I don't know about my chance of getting a loan right now, but, signing up for...
Have you considered fixing that?
There's a lot of things that need fixing in my life. Will BT want that router back when you leave them? No, they just abandon this stuff. They hand this stuff out like candy.
They only care if you cancel within the first 30 days.
Yeah, that would make sense, I guess, yeah.
Because they know it's a current one.
Yeah.
Please, may I have my telephone or your mobile phone number?
Yes.
I have your mobile phone number, but it's
I'll
just
let
the
you
fact
look it
that...
up by the time I've typed it in somewhere. You were going to talk about Copilot. Yeah, well, I mentioned it like I had something interesting to, like I had interesting news, but I'm kind of interested in just talking about just the state of Windows at the moment, possibly, because I was at the VR chat meet I was at last night. Someone was just like, I'm so glad I switched to Linux because Windows 11 is terrible. Don't upgrade from Windows 10, whatever you do. Now, when I'm at VR chat meetups, I try to be a bit hands off with tech stuff because you can just fall down rabbit holes. Last week I was at a meetup and I overheard some people talking about building a new gaming PC, and the guy was just like, well, you might get bottlenecked by your CPU. What CPU are you planning on using? And the guy said, I'm going to get the 9800X3D when it comes out. And the guy goes, let me look that up super quick. And I was just like, okay, the fact that he doesn't know what a 9800X3D is immediately means that this guy who is giving advice doesn't know what he's talking about. But he starts looking up and goes, FX 9000? And I just leaned in. I was just like, the 9800X3D is going to be the fastest gaming CPU on the planet. He'll be fine. Don't worry about the CPU. And immediately walked away.
When did you become a damn man tit? What year was it? Was it 2009?
Put in 2010 just for safety.
Okay.
That's still got over a decade of time on it, so it's fundamental.
When did you join your bank? Shall I put in the same date? Is that when you opened your...
The business account has always been with the current bank, so sure, 2010 is fine as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, no, hold on.
Everything has got 10 years of lifetime on it, so yeah. Because when they're doing a credit check, most of the time they're checking for what has changed within the past couple of years,
there we go.
really, aren't they?
Here is the check for whether you can keep the number.
Okay, yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So he said, it looks like you're already one of our customers on BT Broadband.
Yeah, basically we'll have to
I've got to shunt the number out.
We'll have to move the number and then cancel the contract so you're not a customer and then be without broadband for long enough for the system to realise you're not a customer.
See, I can deal with that just having downtime on the phone is just a sucky situation. I can deal with broadband downtime.
The phone should be functionally, 6 hours sort of thing.
Sure. However, the thing is though, like if I can transfer the phone number out, which will automatically cancel the current broadband package, and I'll be without broadband, but I can tether off of my mobile phone for that. So that's not the end of the world, because I have unlimited tethering on my phone just in case.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
I do. I always make a point of this.
It's not even your bloody contract.
No, it's not anymore, is it? Sorry. Anyway.
Apparently the password I have for your BT account is wrong. Please, may I have your new password for your BT account?
Interesting. Okay, stand by.
It's because the share didn't update.
Let me sign into LastPass on this thing. I downloaded it. I haven't signed into it yet. Right, hang on a sec. I'm going to finish my bit on recall first. So the guy was saying, "Oh, don't upgrade to 11, whatever you do, because of recall, and recall is going to be in the new version of Windows 11." And I was like, "No, it's not in the way that you're talking about. Like, it has to be off by default, and it has to have an NPU. So you have to have a Qualcomm CPU or a brand spanking new AMD or Intel CPU that has the NPU in it first of all, for recall to work. Yeah. So the vast majority of people cannot use recall unless you've built a new PC next week, basically, kind of thing, or next month.
Yeah, after the 24th, yeah.
And then at that point, your computer will theoretically be able to run recall. Secondly, it's probably going to need a Windows Hello login. Does a PIN number count as Windows Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if you use a PIN number login, that might be good enough. However, even then, it has to be off by default, because there is no planet where Microsoft can seed an operating system that by default is taking screenshots every 30 seconds. That just they cannot do that. There is no planet where that can be done, which is why it got immediately pulled in the first place, And so this was the thing. This is why I had a bone to pick with people who were talking about the new version of Windows, because of the fact of I overheard someone going, "Oh, recall, it's going to be terrible. You mustn't upgrade to 11. I'm like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't get me wrong.
It's also a case of, even if it was on by default, you could just turn it off, I would imagine.
Yeah. However, it's not even going to be on by default.
I would imagine that also isn't there going to be a storage requirement?
I don't know. Yeah, like they're probably going to compress it a lot, but whatever. Yeah. However, the point is that the reason why I wanted to talk about this is I overheard, and I can see a growing sentiment of people saying that you shouldn't upgrade to Windows 11 because of recall, and I'm like, there is no planet where recall is actually going to affect you in a meaningful way unless you opt into it and you specifically meet the requirements for it, which right now means having a CPU that is released next month, unless you buy a Qualcomm laptop, which I don't think anyone's actually going to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's 3 people out there that have bought a Qualcomm CPU laptop at the moment, but still.
It's also, I was going to say, it's also the fact that if you're on like insider previews and stuff, that's a completely different kettle of fish, because that's an insider preview.
Yeah.
And
also,
we know that a whole bunch of stuff is turned on by default and non-disableable on insider previews anyway.
Word on the wire is that it can't be disabled or uninstalled. However, you can still switch it off. And by disabled, it can be disabled, but it can't be uninstalled. In the same way that you can't really uninstall Cortana, but you can just switch it off.
Okay.
So yeah. The point is your new Windows 11 24H2 is not taking screenshots of your desktop every 20 seconds. So yeah.
I was going to say, at the very least, on the sum total of one computer that I've installed 24H2 on, it was not enabled on my Latitude 5520, and if you type in recall in the search, nothing comes up at all.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, at the very least, a sample size of 1, doing a fresh install of 24H2. There wasn't even a mention of it on that laptop.
Yeah.
So it's a case that...
And this is kind of what I wanted to talk about.
I don't know what inline upgrades will do, because inline upgrades might have it. because we've seen that before, where you get a completely different thing between inline upgrades and fresh installs. Because I can't remember, there was something a while ago where doing an inline upgrade, devices would work, but if you did a fresh install, you got a whole bunch of driver errors because it wouldn't install for drivers or something.
Yeah.
But you could do an inline upgrade.
23H2 was a very weird upgrade that had a lot of issues like that. 23H2, I could not do an inline upgrade of. I had to do it through Windows Update on every computer I encountered.
Having a 23H2 flash drive?
Yeah. Plug in a...
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could get 23H2 through the media creation tool.
Yeah, because that's the current version that you download from Microsoft as of like last week or whenever it was.
Interesting, because every time I did that, it gave me an older build.
Yeah, it was late to get into the ISO
like
ones.
a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So weird,
Fair
but
enough. Yeah. Anyway, also is Recall an 11 Pro only thing like BitLocker? Maybe, I'm not sure.
I wouldn't expect it to be an 11 Pro only thing. I would expect it to be a Copilot Plus.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's
thing.
Copilot Plus. Yeah.
Sorry, not Copilot Plus. Copilot Pro. I'd expect it to be a Copilot Pro thing, because Copilot Pro is the paid for version. Copilot Plus is your device has an MPU.
The media are saying that you require a Copilot Plus Windows 11 computer to run Recall.
Yeah, that's the hardware requirement to be able to run it.
Yeah.
In the same way as you need a graphics card that can do ray tracing to run ray tracing.
Yeah.
But to be able to actually use those components, you need software that runs ray tracing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. However,
that's kind of more of a point I'm making
the thing that I wanted to point out and why I wanted to mention it is just I want to get ahead of the curve, because I can see a lot of people saying, oh, Windows 11 is terrible because it's spying on you because of Recall. It's like, no, it's not. And no, unless you've specifically met some pretty stringent requirements and opted in, Recall is not active on your computer.
Yeah. Excluding Windows Insider, which entirely possibly could be a completely different kettle of fish anyway.
That's it. Like if you're running weird Insider builds, all bets are off, sure. But like you should be knowing what you're getting into when you're running Insider builds and beta builds and stuff like that. I have no sympathy for people who run beta software and Insider builds and then complain that they're having problems. I'm like, you're running beta software. This is what you literally signed up for this.
Yeah.
You want that. This is what the bleeding edge means. You get cut. You know. Like, I don't mean that in a nasty way, but you understand. That's literally what the phrase means. Is that you might scuff your knuckles on this, but that's what the bleeding edge means.
No. But it was just the fact of you get cut.
I'm gonna cut you. Yeah.
I was like, I mean, yeah, that's literally bleeding edge.
Yeah. Why would you want Recall in the first place? Yeah. I mean, that's going into another conversation. Recall has an interest.
I can see it being really useful in a lot of office environments.
Yeah, like okay, so does 24H2 require an MPU for Recall to work? Yes. Recall requires a neural processing unit. That is the current system requirements for it. Because it has to do its processing on device. Otherwise, Microsoft would just die under the processing power of it. So, yeah. What was the thing we were just on? Oh, yeah, Recall. So, Recall as a concept, I don't think it's a terrible idea. It's not something that I would use, but let me pitch Recall to you as Microsoft are probably envisioning it. You're using your computer and you're thinking to yourself, I got a quote for a hotel last week that I need to go and book now. Where did I do that? So I asked Copilot, where was that hotel that I was going to book? And Copilot analyzes the past week of history that I've done on my computer and goes, here's the hotels that you were going to book. Would you like a link back to the exact website address you were at?
Yeah.
Thanks, Copilot. Book. Okay. What was that dress that I was going to buy for my wife that I was looking at the other day? Copilot analyzes all of the screenshots it's taken for pictures of dresses. Here's that dress that you were looking at that you were going to buy for your wife.
Yeah.
Thanks, Copilot. Bye.
Yeah.
This is what Copilot is for. It allows you to say, what was that thing that I was doing? Like sort of, what was Bill's phone number? He sent it to me in an email and I can't find it. Here's a number that matches messages from Bill. Here's Bill's phone number.
Yeah, and that's kind of the integration of Recall into Copilot and so on.
That's the pitch. Now, if you take that pitch at face value, that sounds kind of helpful to me. Like, let's think about AI as we envision it. Let's think about the future of AI as tech bros envision it. Now, I'm not saying that I support any of this. I don't really care about AI. But for a moment, let's pretend that it's as perfect as the AI tech bros envision it. Imagine that you're Tony Stark in Iron Man and you have Jarvis. Tony's like in Iron Man 1, there's a scene early in the film where Tony Stark is fixing a car. He's working on an engine, and Jarvis goes, "The compression on cylinder 3 is low." And that's the idea, is that, instead of having to get out all the tools and measure the compression, you have a computer that has already checked this for you, and you say, "Jarvis, is the compression low on any of the cylinders?" "Yes," says Jarvis, "I've checked it, and cylinder 3 has low compression." So you go, "Cool, I should probably start inspecting cylinder 3 on the engine of this car." That's the vision, is that you don't have to know how to use these tools. You don't have to know how to program. You don't have to be tech savvy. You just talk to the computer and it understands what you're trying to achieve. That's the goal. And that's a noble endeavour.
Yeah.
And whether we can get to that or not is another question and up for debate and incredibly debatable. But that's what we're trying to achieve. And if and Recall is theoretically a way where Microsoft are saying, "I can remember what you were doing with your computer last week." That's what Recall is. It's the pitch of saying, what was that thing I was looking at? What time was the meeting? And Recall knows because it's been watching what you do and categorizing all of that. That's the pitch. Whether it can do that or not is another question.
Yeah, that certainly seems like that's the actual pitch for it.
So that's why you might want Recall. But in order for that to happen, your computer has to take a screenshot of your screen every 30 seconds, no matter what is on the screen. That's a lot of trust. That's
It's also why it's all local.
Yeah.
So half and half. And if it's and if it's local, and if that data stays local.
Now, initially, the SQLite database where it was stored was just locally stored, unencrypted, which is just a fucking gold mine for malware. Now, Microsoft have now encrypted it. That's why there's the Windows Hello requirement. It's been encrypted using Windows Hello, which is assumed to be secure, because that's and I will take it on good faith that Windows Hello has no major vulnerabilities in it, because that would be, that's quite a conspiracy theory to say that Windows Hello is insecure. But so it's now encrypted, but still, I don't know, man. That's a lot of data you're trusting to a black box, and I personally would not be up for it, but. The info is already available. Citation needed. Citation needed. Or are you saying, when you say that info is already available, are you saying like, when is the meeting is already available because you have an email confirmation saying that that's already available? And I'd agree with that. I think a lot of this stuff can be achieved without taking pictures of your screen every 30 seconds.
Yeah, and it's... it's kind of like the thing of Google email search, for kind of finding stuff like that, but effectively expanding that out to everything. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'll need to see what's actually being.
It's a massive trust with Microsoft. No thanks. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's stored locally, but. That's the problem, is that, right now, if someone said there was a 0-day exploit for Windows Hello, you probably wouldn't be super worried about that, because that's probably not something that's really going to affect you. But if Recall exists, an exploit with Windows Hello, which basically means that Recall is now compromised, holy shit, you better be sure that there's no viruses on your computer at that point. That's the problem.
I guess it depends on how good
The threat profile goes really high with recall. That's the thing. I think that's the problem. Is recall is secure, but it increases your threat profile astronomically, I think. And I'm trying not to be conspiratorial about this, but it's hard not to be for the amount of data that we're theoretically categorizing.
It is the same. See, in a way, it's exactly the same thing as just what Windows history was. Because Windows history that was introduced with Windows 10, it logged the time of every single program you opened and every single website you went to and just collated it in Windows history. And you could go through that and click through that at your leisure. And if you wanted to tie it into that, you could tie it in so all of your devices signed in with that Microsoft account would sync all of their histories all together, and you'd have one continuous timeline of all of the activities done on all of the computers with all of your Microsoft IDs. And if you wanted to, as a further step, you could include everything that was copied into the clipboard. And then have a unified sync clipboard across all of your machines and so on, and a unified history, and everything you did was in that.
Especially when you account for clipboard, because I was about to say, yeah, but that's not taking screenshots of passwords and stuff like that. However, that's logging where you were, but not what was on the page at the time, if you see what I mean.
No,
however,
sure.
when you
just
start
kind of
factoring...
it's a and another on that thing.
But when
that
you start
was a feature.
Yeah, when you start factoring in the clipboard where you could be copy-pasting passwords, suddenly we're not that far removed from recall with that. So yeah. Windows history was local. So is recall, though. That's the thing. You know, recall is local only. That's why it needs the NPU. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I think a lot of it is obviously going to, be one of those things where ultimately going to have to actually see what it does.
Yeah.
And see what different configuration setups installs do.
But the main takeaway and the reason why I wanted to bring it up is the fact of it's going to be off by default and have requirements that 99% of people will not meet. So
at least at the moment.
Yeah. Like this, obviously, as people buy new CPU, like the next gen CPUs...
Well, not even that. The requirements for it may change tomorrow.
True. It's still going to need an NPU.
Well, it doesn't need one. It's any desktop, you can just use a GPU. Because any dedicated GPU can do more than 50 TOPS.
I suppose. Yeah, because
literally any dedicated GPU can do more than 50 TOPS.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So basically,
for
the
a
argument
desktop,
here
it's not a problem.
Yeah, because I was going to say, yeah, but if you're doing that processing locally without an NPU, you're just going to load down the computer. However, the point being that the minimum requirements is 40 TOPS, and if any GPU can do 50 TOPS, then yeah, it's not a tall order to process that locally without an NPU.
Yeah, and also it's a case of if you really wanted to, and you didn't have an NPU, it could just go, oh, this is a game. Stop recording. Capture first screenshot of game launching.
Yeah.
GPU load drops. Start capturing again. GPU load goes back up again. Stop capturing again.
Yeah.
And just do that and just say, there were pauses due to extreme GPU load.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing it non-MPU, you know,
okay,
there's loads of kind of... Yeah.
Well, even if we take that into account, it's still going to be off by default. So... however way you spin this, it's going to be off by default. And, people saying, oh, recall is local only until it isn't. That could be true, but we kind of have to work with what we're told right now. Right now it's local only, and right now it's off by default. That's not going to change in 24H2. If there's any changes to that, that will happen in the next build update, and then you can get angry about that one.
I think
that's what my takeaway from this would be.
Yeah, I can't see how it could not be local only.
And I could not see how it couldn't be off by default, you know, just on principle. Failing that, the local only thing will catch it, because again, you've got, if it's not local only, then basically we're saying that we're storing this, because we all agree that recall is a vast cache of private information. There is no planet where that cannot be local without Microsoft taking on insane amounts of liability.
Yeah, it depends.
So,
because obviously
there is no planet where it cannot be local without some kind of paradigm shift.
it'd have to be paid for. For it to be not local, it would have to be paid for.
At the very least.
Because
because
obviously they take on that liability
yeah.
for Business 365. They take on that liability for Business 365 E5, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. You know,
Simplest virus, copy recall folder to OneDrive, Dropbox, etc.
right? But
Still got to break Windows Hello.
you'd still
because-
have to decrypt it.
Yeah, still got to break Windows Hello for that.
That's the same as saying easiest virus, transfer browser to Dropbox.
Yeah.
Good. What does that give you?
Still got to break Windows Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Telemetry was local only too until the data gets sent to MS. Yeah, I mean, we're on a slippery slope argument here.
Telemetry was never local only.
Yeah. But
Local only telemetry would have literally defeated the point of telemetry.
Yeah, I think what they're saying is just like, oh, it was only crash reports or something, and now it's just like the spec of your computer, how you use it, what you use it for, and stuff like that. And I don't know the full details of that.
I mean, crash reports have to include functionally everything.
Sure.
You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The fact of, if it was still only crash reports, it would still have to contain basically everything.
Yeah.
Because they need to gather any sort of useful information.
Yeah. This is why BitLocker is active default on a fresh install of 24H2. It has been for a while now anyway.
Hasn't it
However,
been the past,
Windows...
2 years?
Yeah. That's been the default for quite a while. That's not new to 24H2. However, recall will need to be independently encrypted anyway in case BitLocker isn't on.
Or sorry, if BitLocker is on, but with a with a 0 encryption key.
Yeah.
Which is the default install, as far as I remember,
Yes.
for home installs.
Yeah. Or failing that, they'll need to make BitLocker a requirement for recall. You know,
that also makes just
the
more
answer remains
sense
the
as well.
same. There is no planet where you can implement recall in a non-secure manner. That's the thing.
And get away with it.
Yeah.
The important part is and get away with it.
Yeah. And like Microsoft are many things, but they're not stupid. They're not going to implement recall in a non-secure manner, because,
or at least certainly a attemptedly secure manner.
Yeah. Because like you just instantly get sued into the Stone Age, you know.
They would completely lose basically their ability to do business in Europe and stuff because of data protection laws. And that's a reasonably large market to be concerned about.
BitLocker isn't on home. Kinda, sorta. That's complicated. You can have BitLocker on home systems.
You can have, the drive full disk encrypted on home. You just can't.
There's no front end to it.
You just can't manage it easily.
Yeah, that's down to management and stuff like that.
And arguably, so. Okay.
Here's the R.
No, not quite. Here is your monthly payment to Microsoft.
Okay.
You pay Microsoft monthly.
Okay.
Insert amount here.
Sure.
Whatever the money is. But that gives you Copilot Ultra Premium Plus, whatever the hell it is, Office,
Yeah.
terabyte storage,
Yeah.
your Pro Windows license.
Okay.
Is that the service model that actually functions? And basically you just have whatever the latest version of Windows is, whatever the latest version of Office is, because it's just a monthly amount.
I mean, if Microsoft started bundling it all together...
And also it includes Game Pass.
Sure.
Because now Game Pass finally has an increase in numbers.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is just So the pitch here is that if Microsoft bundled everything together into a single package, you're going to buy it anyway because there's going to be something in there you want.
Yeah.
Now people can be like, oh, I bought a Windows key from Gamers Outlet. I don't need to pay monthly for Windows. Sure, okay, but then it's like, okay, well, what about cloud storage? I would imagine there's a decent percentage of people in the audience who are paying monthly for cloud storage. I'm paying for Google Drive.
Well, paying monthly for Office,
Yeah.
Game Pass, cloud storage,
Yeah.
Windows. One of those.
There's going to be one of those things that you want, and one of those things that you have not bought or cannot buy on a one-time payment option. And certainly for the average customer, the likelihood of you wanting one of those things goes whoop, because for the average customer, you're doing that just for Office straight away. The average customer is paying for Microsoft 365. So, in which case, if it includes Copilot Plus, well, you're paying for Copilot Plus now.
Pilot.
You have it anyway, right?
That's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Not buy, lease, whatever. We understand what we're talking about here. iCloud for daughter's phone. There we go. 1 year prepaid. Sure. You're paying annually then. Keep everything off the cloud as possible. I love the idea of that. I support that. But, again, I'll pay monthly for Windows, no telemetry, recall, Copilot, BitLocker, local account. Okay, so you'd pay monthly for Windows without the bullshit.
Well, no, you'd pay monthly for Windows without any of the Microsoft features. So you now just don't want the Microsoft operating system.
Kind of. I guess the idea is we're saying, okay, if I pay you monthly, will you allow me Microsoft but without telemetry, without adverts, without data collection and stuff like that?
Only one of those I could see that any remote chance of being put on there is the removal of suggested apps.
Yeah.
Or adverts.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that's an interesting premise, is saying, look, I'll pay you your monthly fee in order for you to not dick me around,
Because I think the removal of telemetry and crash data is just not something they'll ever go with.
No, I don't think it'll happen
Microsoft literally cannot afford it, because they have been beaten for years and years by people who refuse to look at where the problems actually are and saying, oh, well, Windows is slow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my Microsoft thing keeps crashing, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, actually, you installed Nigerian virus 47 here. You installed 87 toolbars to your browser.
Yeah.
You're running on their £150 HP stream. None of these are Microsoft problems.
Yeah.
Other than maybe they should say to HP, you can't sell that laptop with our operating system on it.
Yeah.
But at that point, people would be up in arms saying, Microsoft is telling people who can install their operating system. How dare they?
Yeah. I mean, this is moving off topic, but because this is moving into the off-topic discussion of, is telemetry a bad thing?
Well, I'm just more kind of the bashing of Microsoft for things that aren't Microsoft.
Yeah. But however, this is the thing, is just, Microsoft have a really big problem to solve that cannot be solved without some level of telemetry. And tech enthusiasts are simultaneously saying to Microsoft, we don't want telemetry, but also we're going to immediately bash you over the head every time you make the slightest slip up. And those two things just aren't compatible, So, and it's also a question of, when telemetry goes wrong, sure, I get it. There's been times on my PC at home where I've sat at home and, I've noticed that my PC is doing something while I'm on the desktop. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I open up Task Manager and there's some system service that's eating away 50% of my CPU. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I Google that process name, and it's telemetry, processing something in order to send it off. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know?
I mean, probably encrypting it.
Probably. And now, it's probably harmless, but a lot of people will look at that and be like, you're loading down my PC. You're slowing my PC down. I get it. But also, though, everyone's going to say to Microsoft, why haven't you fixed this? Why haven't you fixed that? Why is my computer slow? There's only one way to find out. They have to collect data.
Yeah.
And everyone says sort of, it wasn't like this in Windows 7. It wasn't like this in Windows XP. Yeah, because they crashed all the time. Bitch, you don't remember Windows XP. I don't think you remember Windows XP. You know.
Yeah.
Windows XP was bad. You'll think it was great. But no, it was bad. You know. However. And Windows 7, just again, that's not a system that aged well. But we're in a really strange time with Windows 10, where Windows 10 has been around for a long time now. And
yeah, since
it's all a lot of people know.
Since August 2015.
Yeah. And like, that's nearly 10 years. And let's face it, you know, like, there's a lot of people in the audience that, you know, the Zoomers can vote now. You know, and the Zoomers don't remember Windows 7 and Windows XP. They might remember them when they were a kid, before they had any knowledge or interest in computers, but the Zoomers don't remember Windows 7. And that's that's kind of one of those things that makes you realize that if Windows 10 is all you've ever known, without meaning to be mean, I don't mean this in a nasty way, but if Windows 10 is all you've ever known, you don't know much. Windows 10 is a very, very different animal to any other version of Windows we've ever seen. And that changes your perspective on things. XP64 was mint, and it had no drivers. There were no drivers for XP64.
I'll have you know, there were 6 T4 drivers.
So yeah, and like, I'm not trying to be on a high horse here. I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I'm just saying that Windows XP.
There, Gandalf.
Yeah, Windows XP and Windows 7 was not as good as people remember, and 9X was not as good as people remember. 9X was crap. 9X crashed all the time.
Or not necessarily crashed, but popped up a box saying error.
Yeah.
Error has errored errorly.
Yeah.
Please error.
Everyone mocks Windows ME, and it's like, ME was 98 with a skin. So if you hate ME, that means you hate 98.
Yeah.
And then if you hate and if you're going to bash 98, that's 9X, baby. That means 95 as well. 95 was just 98, but with half the features gone. Yeah. You know.
My memories of actual, like, somewhat enthusiast using of Windows come from Service Pack 2 for XP, so 2004.
Yeah, and people are saying, oh, it was good at the time. Absolutely. At the time, it was good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I think the thing that's been missed is the fact of it's no longer 2004.
Yeah.
It's no longer good.
That's
we
my
have
point.
better now.
Yeah. Windows 10 is orders of magnitude better than the previous systems that came before it.
It's also just a fact of, even completely unrelated to any of that, we've just got so much higher resolution screens.
Yeah.
Or, well, some people do.
Yeah. Just purely by virtue of the fact that it's newer, it is a superior system. And, you know, 11 is kind of an oddball, but 11 is functionally just Windows 10 with a new skin anyway.
Yeah. It's the first version of Windows that's been new since XP where I haven't immediately been like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. I've just been like,
yeah,
I'm not sure why this was needed. It's
yeah.
the first time I've actually questioned it.
11 was something that came out with really good intentions that justified its drawbacks, but didn't make good on its intentions.
Yeah, it's also to a degree. It, at least as an outsider, looked like it didn't need those drawbacks. it could have had the benefits.
Yeah.
Minimum specification increase, minimum performance increases, and so on.
A lot of yeah, sorry, finish.
And it didn't need anything else. And
I feel like a lot of the issues with Windows 11, a lot of the grievances people have are restrictions that Microsoft put in place, where if they just made those restrictions applicable to OEMs only, there would not have been a problem.
Or just actually enforce them. Either or.
Either or. So
if they'd actually
so
enforced
let's take the
them and
Windows
made it
11 restrictions.
impossible to not completely 100% comply.
Yeah.
I think that'd have been better than the weird.
Yeah.
Nuts.
The thing about Windows 11 is when you look at the restrictions in place, you say, the minimum requirements for Windows 11 are kind of steep in some, the Windows 11 requirements are pretty steep. And if Microsoft had actually enforced that, if they said you must have 8 gigs of RAM, you must have a quad-core processor, you must have the encryption thing, TPM 2.0. You must have 8 gigs of RAM, quad-core processor, TPM 2.0. That would have meant that the requirements for Windows 11 were decent performance and encryption by default. That would have justified it. Because, those requirements are kind of steep for old computers, but the reward is you have a fast and secure system as standard.
Yeah.
That would have justified it all.
Yeah.
But the reality is you don't actually need any of those things. They're just arbitrary requirements that people can bypass, so they weren't actually needed at all. And OEMs are still releasing laptops with dual-core CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
Which are just functionally not fit for purpose. Yeah. I've got one on the shelf back here. It's it's a 2022, 2023. It's a Windows 11 laptop with 4 gigs of RAM and a dual-core CPU. 2 cores, 2 threads.
Yeah.
And it's like, why does this exist? Its existence completely undermines everything Windows 11 should have stood for.
Yeah. I think as a part of that as well, it's a conversation we've had on the show before.
Yeah.
Is about the Windows Experience program. Windows Experience program needs to be a thing. And
are you talking about like the Windows Experience Index?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That program that gave you the index.
Yes. Understood. Yeah.
That performance measuring of the device that needs to be a thing.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to go, why the f have you sold me a computer that's a 3?
Yeah.
3, according to Windows, doesn't meet minimum standards.
I don't think we talked about this on the podcast.
We have. Si, you and I have spoken about this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I was going to say, it came up in the Discord a couple of times, and we talked about it in the Discord. But well, at the very least, the Windows Experience program, that would have been good because it meant that customers would have had a way of objectively showing that their computer was actually just crap.
And also, it would mean that if someone came in with a brand new laptop, you could go, Windows Experience Index, I'm terribly sorry you bought a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, Microsoft is saying that, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is, if Windows 11 had made good, if Microsoft had made good on their threats, Windows 11 would be justified.
Yeah, but that requires them to have balls.
Yeah. If Microsoft had had the balls to make good on their threats, Windows 11 would be justified because, sure, they would cut off the bottom-end laptop market. Sure, all of your Intel 7th Gen CPUs would be obsolete. Sure, you'd be sad about that. But it means that anything running Windows 11 is guaranteed to be decent performance and secure by default. That would be worth the sacrifice. But the thing is Windows 11 isn't secure by default because it can run without BitLocker.
Yeah.
And it isn't fast by default because you can install it on a dual-core 4-gig system.
Yeah.
So what was the point?
Yeah, I think...
What was the point?
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the issue.
I think as well with that, if it had had a tiered roll-off of the CPUs and stuff, certainly on desktop, where it was just like, because to actually lose the hardware features for security in desktop CPUs, you have to go quite a long way back.
Yeah.
I think actually first generation Core gives you the hardware features for security on desktop,
Okay.
other than FTPM.
Yeah.
FTPM can be added in as a module to a lot of motherboards.
Yeah.
So you make it so those requirements are sloped. So like say your cutoff is anything 8th gen newer, and newer is accepted.
Yeah.
Fine. 7th gen, which is faster than the slowest 8th gen, is acceptable. 6th gen, that is faster than the slowest 8th gen, is acceptable. So you keep tiling it like that. So you end up with any Core 2 quads that are faster than an 8th gen are acceptable. There aren't any.
Yeah.
Therefore, none of them are acceptable. But it's a performance cutoff because the hardware features are already accounted for.
Yeah.
And if there had been that roll-off as well, it would have lined up with the minimum performance tier as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because ultimately, like, in the majority of cases, also, there's a couple of questions in chat that I'm going to get to in just a sec, including someone saying, I've lost where it was. Someone said check Discord. I'll get to you in just a moment. I've just checked Discord. One of the issues as well is, for the majority of things, it's really easy to say that by the time that Windows 10 is out of support, a la in a year from now, will be late 2025. And at that point, anything that doesn't support Windows 10 is functionally, 8 years old? 7th gen was about 2017, wasn't it?
It'd be 8 years.
Yeah. So it's really easy to say if your computer doesn't support Windows 10, if your computer doesn't support Windows 11, it's obsolete. But also there are exceptions to that rule. Like my YouTube rig over there, that's a 7700K. It's a perfectly good computer. It's got a really nice CPU and a really nice motherboard in it. Technically isn't supported by Windows 11. That kind of sucks. So I understand why people are angry about it. And this is why the tiered rollout would have worked better. I think there is a world where Microsoft 11 would have been way wider accepted had Microsoft not just fumbled the system requirements for it. There is a world where it would be completely acceptable if Microsoft had just had some kind of tiering system and definitely just put the most stringent requirements on OEMs. Because when you put requirements on OEMs, you're not saying what you support Windows 11 on that's in the field, but what you support Windows 11 on that's being sold today, tomorrow. That's the issue. So, yeah. I've lost track of it in the chat. Someone said check Discord for this is why people are worried about.
My only comment with that, you're saying about that computer being a perfectly fine computer. I'm just absolutely. But if we compare the performance of a 7700 and a 12900 as both as being the top tiers for their generations, you're talking about pick a random thing here because it was the first one here.
Sure.
A just soft photo scan.
Yeah.
Time in seconds. You're going from 4,000 seconds to 1,200 seconds.
Yeah. Sure.
And just stuff like that. So it's, I'm not saying it makes it obsolete or not. Simply a case of the performance increase that there has been is vast.
Yeah. Now, I agree with that. But to play devil's advocate, I understand that a brand new CPU will be way faster than that one. But that's still fit for purpose. I record every Adamant IT YouTube video gets recorded on that CPU.
Yeah.
It's fit for purpose.
Yeah.
So why should I not be able to run a supported operating system on it? And obviously that is a very open-ended question that is a rabbit hole in its own right, because if I'm saying that Microsoft should support 7th gen Intel, I am now obligating Microsoft to test every build of Windows 11 on a 7th gen Intel system.
But not just that, you're also supporting the single core Celeron from 7th gen.
Sure, there we go then. So that's the problem.
You're supporting the single core Pentium Silver.
Yeah, but this is why I say the simple solution would have been to have an OEM requirement and a broad support, because if you say OEM and works on, that kind of solves the problem. If you say we don't provide support for, but this will work on, that solves a lot of issues. Someone asked us to check Discord about recall. However, they've sent a screenshot that is in German.
They have translated it underneath in Discord.
I will immediately go back to Discord and read it more closely. Feature recall status active. This is on a 2020 Ryzen system with 24H2. Interesting. So, hang on a sec. Disable streamer mode. So, nobody, the username nobody, said they've installed 24H2 on a 2020 Ryzen system and recall is on by default, is the implication. Yeah, that's a bit concerning, I'm not going to lie. I'd have to look into that. I don't have a response to that, and that concerns me. So, yeah. I'm going to... So this weekend, Caradoc has brought with him the latest distribution of Ghost Spectre Windows 11, which I'm planning on daily driving. However, I'm going to do a vanilla installation of Windows 11 on my home PC this weekend. I'll do a vanilla install and I'll see if recall is on by default. And I'm going to install it with BitLocker and everything. The whole shooting match. Windows 11 Pro, BitLocker, Windows Hello, everything. Vanilla as Microsoft envisions it installed.
Yeah.
And I'll see what's on by default. After that, I'm going to put Ghost Spectre on there because I want to run Ghost Spectre. But
that,
yeah,
there is just the comment that checking if the features for recall are available, as in the service is active, is entirely different to screenshots are being saved. Because the services for touchscreen are active.
Even when there's no touchscreen.
Yes. And I'm not saying that to say that you're wrong or you're right or anything like that, but just a statement of because the services are there, because the services are active, doesn't mean the screenshots are being taken. To go to support.microsoft.com, reading directly from Microsoft's website, it says, by default, snapshots for recall aren't enabled. You need to turn the options on. There are a few ways to do this. So, assuming that we trust Microsoft isn't lying in writing on their support page,
and of course,
snapshots are off. If they are lying about that, that's a slam dunk victory for any sort of court case.
Yeah. Now, remember, obviously, we're taking Microsoft's word for this, but if we entertain the idea that Microsoft is lying, now we are into conspiracy territory.
And the follow-up question becomes, if you believe Microsoft is lying, then stop using their operating system.
Yeah. At that point, we can no longer...
trust that BitLocker is secure.
Yeah. If you do not trust Microsoft's word on their website, then you cannot use their product in any functional manner.
Yeah.
So we have to assume that Microsoft's word is gospel on their website. So, interesting.
Yeah.
So
it also says...
So it's basically saying that the system is supported and the service is active, but recall is not enabled by default.
Well, snapshots for recall are not enabled. I don't know if snapshots for recall is a different thing to the function of recall.
So perhaps the terminology here is that recall is enabled, but it is not gathering data.
Yes, it might be activated, but it is not armed.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yes, according to their website, the requirements are a Copilot Plus PC, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 8 logical processors, 256 gigabytes of storage capacity with at least 50 gigabytes of storage space free.
Yeah. Galvani says Microsoft support is often outdated. However, this is the recall published data. This is not like a forum post or something like that. Oh, that's kind of
cool. You can exclude websites from it. You can exclude programs from it.
Ah.
So you can just go into there, you can choose an app to exclude and it doesn't.
Oh, that's
You
interesting.
can choose websites to exclude and it just doesn't.
That
So you
obviously.
can put Pornhub in there. That's what your biggest concern is. That, my God, I look at adult material.
Yeah.
How unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
But you can just add those filters into that. And I'd imagine what I guarantee there will be is people who will be testing this out. They will be putting exclusions in there and they'll be trying to trip it up.
Yeah.
And someone will tell us whether it's lying or not very soon with hard data both ways.
Yeah.
But also
So-
the fact of,
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Mike's Unboxing says, and when a random Windows update accidentally turns it fully on. Well, that's the thing. We'll know, because there are people who will be watching this with hawk eyes because they've got nothing else to do, kind of thing. And when that happens, the lawsuits will be flying. You know, this is why I said there is no planet where Microsoft can have this on and off, on by default. That's what I meant by this. There is no planet where Microsoft can be gathering this data by default and not get sued into the Stone Age by someone. Someone out there will make that lawsuit. Someone out there will blow that whistle. This is what I mean by that. There is no planet where this will be accidentally turned on and no one will say anything. Now, I guess you could turn around and say, well, during the time which they turn it on accidentally and the lawsuit takes effect, they'll be gathering my data. Sure, maybe. But my God, the blood will flow on that day.
It does also
You know.
continue to say that Recall is an upcoming experience exclusive to Copilot Plus PCs.
Yeah. And this also, again,
I
requires...
completely misread that line.
Okay, hold on a sec. I was going to say, this is also on the assumption that you have a Copilot Plus PC,
I completely misread it.
which requires an NPU.
Recall is coming the exclusive Copilot Plus PCs that help you easily find and remember things you've seen using natural language. To help provide you with that photographic memory. I read that as to help provide you with the pornographic memory.
Okay.
Using generative AI.
Right. Retro Man Cave says, no, I did a vanilla install of Windows 11 yesterday and defo it's not enabled. So, obviously at this point we're working on just hearsay of one person in chat says this, another person in chat says that.
Yeah,
So
at least on doing a fresh install,
yeah.
it clean the drive, plug in the flash drive,
Yeah.
install it.
So was
it
that
didn't come up on my laptop.
Yeah, was that Windows 11 Pro? Was that on a modern like supported system and stuff like that?
Yeah,
'Cause-
that was Pro on my laptop, and for me, sample size of 1, therefore anecdote, it didn't come up for me.
yeah. So
Which is
that is
expected
to say,
because it's not a Copilot Plus PC.
yeah. So like, did you see a message that says Recall is not
No.
supported on this system?
No.
Yeah.
But also Copilot wasn't turned on
Yeah.
at all. Like the Copilot feature just wasn't turned on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Recall is a part of Copilot Plus. The two go hand
So
in hand. You
it's-
cannot have one without the other.
I don't know, but yeah. Also, I
Hmm.
did a quick search for just Copilot for just Recall on the start menu, and nothing came up. But
Yeah. I would expect to see Microsoft and NVIDIA AMD leverage AI features of a GPU to make a non-AI enabled PC into a shiny AI enabled Recall PC. Maybe, but also this is what the NPUs on the next gen CPUs are actually for, is to stop your GPU getting hammered by this. So absolutely, like as Caradog said earlier on, you can
interesting.
absolutely do this on GPU. But based on, hold on, I'm nearly there. Based on Microsoft's current system requirements for a Copilot Plus PC, you need to have an NPU. Whether or not it can be done on another system is debatable. It can be done on another system. But Microsoft say that for Copilot Plus, you need an NPU, which means you need a next-gen CPU.
on here, if you are browsing in private browsing, it is not captured by default if you use Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Opera, Google Chrome, or any other Chromium-based browser.
Oh, interesting. So they are detecting what browser you're using and saying don't capture when this browser is active in
Private browsing incognito mode. Yeah.
Now, of course, this entertains the idea that, like, let's face it, 9 times out of, well, I know you're in private browsing all the time. I don't use incognito.
Yes.
Yeah, right now, yeah. I don't use incognito. I don't use private browsing. Like if I was doing my online banking, no, I don't open a private browser for that. I just do it in a normal window.
Oh, smileys.
Because, yeah.
How do I get rid of smileys?
So that is interesting, but it requires people to actually use private browsing, and people don't. I don't, and I know Joe Public doesn't, because, spoilers, I look at other people's PCs, and yeah, when I'm servicing other people's computers, I find porn in their browser history a lot. That's not as
all saved as their desktop background.
I mean, not as a desktop background, but like finding porn on a customer computer is not uncommon. It is fairly regular. It happens all the time. And I pretend I don't see it, and I do not mention it to the customer because it's none of my fucking business.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
However, they ain't doing that in a private browser, you know. So that's the thing, is that's interesting that they're protecting in private browsing, but that doesn't really solve the problem, although it does provide an out.
Yeah, but also Windows treats material protected with DRM similarly to private browsing windows.
Yeah.
Like other Windows apps such as Snipping Tool, Recall will not store DRM content. So, I'm sure what someone else will do is they will just make it so every web page loads as a DRM web page.
Interesting.
Because then it will force Recall to not capture it.
Yeah.
If you have some DRM handshake on each web page, effectively. I'm sure someone will do that. So even if it gets forced on, because it's DRM now, you're now fucking with the music industry. You're fucking with the film industry. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right? Also, it says sensitive information filtering is on by default and helps reduce passwords, national ID numbers, and credit card numbers from being stored in Recall. So it's a case of they are using Recall to identify those things and then not save them.
Yeah.
They cannot guarantee it's going to be 100% accurate, obviously, but it's a case of there was the intention to not capture that information.
And also, let's face it, like whenever there's private data, like a lot of the things that people quote about, and I understand that I'm flip-flopping on this, but I'm receiving new information right now. So, like, the biggest criticism of Recall is that it is going to see you typing in passwords and things like that. It's not difficult for an AI to read the word password on the screen, which means although this is not guaranteed to work, it's probably going to work with a pretty high degree of accuracy, because enter your password is going to be somewhere on the screen. So that's interesting that Microsoft have taken steps. I'm not saying that I endorse Recall. I still don't like it. I still would not use it. However, it looks like Microsoft have actually seen the error of their ways and are actually taking steps to make it somehow workable, which is a lot more than what I expected previously.
It's also just a case of I've clicked on the what sensitive data information and it's instantly dumped me into the like learn.microsoft stuff and started talking about E5. And I'm like, well, you're taking this seriously.
I see.
E5 is the highest tier of enterprise grade. You have a person at Microsoft's first name, last name, telephone number, house address.
Okay, yeah.
kind of thing. You know, it's for companies at that tier.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, sometimes when Microsoft just dumps you onto those pages, you're like, this is something you take reasonably seriously.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, it sounds like, you know, again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying it seems like it might be thought through.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mike's Unboxing says, wouldn't it be a lot simpler to just not snoop on our PCs? Well, again, this is why it will be off by default, and I cannot see a world where it will ever be on by default, unless it is something that you have opted into. And I think that if you opt into using Copilot Plus and stuff like that, That is you saying that you want all of this functionality.
And
if you go into that not knowing, then personally I think you didn't actually read what you were going into. However, that's the thing is, I fully agree with you. I would not want any of this functionality on my PC. This is not something I need. It's not something I want. I would like Microsoft to leave me alone and just make my computer boot up and run my games and my browser. However, this is why I say that I don't see any world where this can be on by default unless you've opted in or bought a computer that is specifically sold as designed to do this stuff. A la, if you buy a computer that is sold as a Microsoft Copilot Plus PC, that's what you're buying. You're buying this. That's what you're signing up for. You know. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of a case of, obviously they are wanting to build an experience that helps you have a quote-unquote photographic memory.
Yeah.
That's how they're selling it, they're viewing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing of, obviously they want to help you find that thing that you remember that you were looking for something, but you can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of a case of, I understand why
face value, yeah.
I can understand why you'd want that as a feature.
Yeah, like, you know, this is really unpopular in chat. I hear you guys loud and clear that you guys don't like this, and I agree. Yeah. This is not something that I would want. But I guess what we're saying here is playing devil's advocate. Do we understand what Microsoft is trying to achieve here? And like, the goal is an interesting idea. I think it's a very interesting idea, but I don't like the cost of it. And it's not something that I would personally go for myself. And for the same reason that I don't, this is the same reason why I don't care for AI as a whole. ChatGPT, AI image generation, I don't like any of it. I want it all to go away. I want Pandora's box to be closed. However, it's open and Microsoft are going to take advantage of it. And this is what they're trying to do with it. And I think it's interesting to think about and discuss as an interesting concept. But I wish none of it existed. This certainly seems
like a use case that's actually a use case.
They're trying to make it useful. Well, whether or not they achieve or not remains to be seen.
Yeah,
but
it's also the case of
the pitch is interesting.
Yeah, I view this very much as the look at mobile phones from 2009.
Elaborate.
How many hundreds of different designs did we have and we ended up on a rectangle like this because we found out actually that's the one that's most useful for the media that's consumed through mobile phones.
Sure.
But it had things that slid and wiggled and wobbled and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
People have to throw a lot of stuff out there to see what actually works with 100,000 users.
So you're saying that Microsoft are chucking a load of stuff at the wall now to find out what the AI feature actually looks like?
Everyone has to with every facet of every new technology.
Yeah.
You have to throw 100,000 ideas out there at the wall, and some of them will stick with some groups.
Yeah.
And it depends on whether those groups are groups that will pay, ultimately.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Or already using another service that you can include it in at no operational cost that is being paid for.
Yeah. And Microsoft have a history of doing this, and sometimes they hit and sometimes they miss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, I think.
Just look at Windows 8. Like I talk about this a lot. Everyone laughs at Windows 8, and everyone laughs at how bad Windows 8 was. And when you look at the pitch for Windows 8 and the Metro interface, Microsoft said, "Okay, roll with me here. What if your mobile phone, your tablet, and your laptop and your desktop computer all had exactly the same interface? Wouldn't that be a good idea?" And you think, yeah, that seems like a good idea. Of course, the reality is no, because my desktop computer is a 27-inch screen and my mobile phone is a 6-inch display. No, of course you can't have the same interface for that.
I think it works all the way through, right up until laptops. All the way through. The only thing I don't think it worked with was a desktop. I think for laptops it actually worked fine.
And that's where the biggest kickback is on the desktop. But that's the thing. Microsoft, they were throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah.
The Metro interface didn't stick. But you can understand what they were trying to achieve. We can debate whether that was, it's easy for me to say, how did that ever make it out of the meeting room no, of course that's not going to work. However, but that's easy to look at in hindsight. But Microsoft were throwing stuff at the wall to see what would stick.
I think it would have worked a lot better if Qualcomm could actually make good processors. Because the Surface RT was broken by the processor being crap and nothing actually being able to run on it. No one wanting to develop anything to run on it because the performance was garbage. Because the performance was always garbage. Because the processor was garbage.
Yes. Whether the new Qualcomm CPUs are the same tune re-released or not is another discussion.
I mean, based off of the benchmarks we've seen, if you can get it to run, the performance is the same as last gen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the thing, just bringing it back to recall for a moment, the other thing I quite like is it says, during the setup of your new Copilot PC, and for each new user, the user can opt into saving snapshots for recall.
Can opt into.
Yeah. So during the first time setup, you will be asked to do it.
Yeah.
And if someone gets your computer and then makes a new user on it, that user will be asked again. That new user will also be asked.
That is on a out-of-box experience basis, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is good.
Yeah.
And also, users will know that it is enabled, in theory, because there will be the recall icon pinned to their taskbar. At least, again, according to what Microsoft is saying.
Yeah.
And according to Microsoft saying how it will work.
Yeah. And again, we have to...
at this point, assume that it will function that way.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, you can't use anything made by that company.
Yeah, that's it. I know some people in chat have said, well, I don't trust Microsoft. I'm like, then we cannot continue this conversation. Yeah. However, I want to interrupt just to say, Donkey Kong, thank you for the 50 Danky Kangs, the DKKs. Have you ever tasted Danish schnapps? I have not. Schnapps, aquavit, booze. Interesting discussion today. Thank you very much. And no, I don't think I have.
Not Danish.
Is it just called a Danish schnapps? Is there a brand name that we can look for? I would be interested to know more.
I have not had Danish. I have had...
I've had our Danish. I'm sorry.
I mean, I have.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've had Austrian and German. My first experience getting drunk, like actually drunk, was drinking Austrian schnapps.
I see.
I didn't realise it was schnapps. I thought it was like peach lemonade because it was slightly fizzy. And it didn't really hit like alcohol.
How old were you?
18.
Okay.
I drank 3/4 of a litre of schnapps.
Okay.
Yes.
Were you okay?
I was absolutely fine. Because I then ran off and started doing airsoft.
Oh my days.
So this was like the Friday night, and then the Saturday morning I was running around a forest doing, airsoft.
Possibly still over the legal driving limit, yeah. Okay. Right, I'm going to quickly scan through the chat. I'm sorry, I said at the start of this stream, I'm going to be more responsive on chat this week, but need.
You're here to listen to the two of us talk.
Yeah, I try to engage with the chat. Yeah, I try to make it a bit of a conversation as well, but yeah.
Also, give me your passwords.
Oh, yeah, I was going to do that about an hour ago, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, in that case, you have to engage with the chat.
No, I refuse.
All right, fine. I'm going to engage with the chat super quick, and then I'm going to do the password things. Metro on Microsoft phones was good. Liked it, but not on my computer. Yep. Multiple people saying the same thing.
I am so sad that Windows Mobile had to die.
It was kind of cool, wasn't it?
For Windows Phone to live.
Because and then die.
Because Windows Mobile was the perfect operating system for the tech enthusiast compared to Windows Phone, the perfect operating system for the average user.
Yeah. Stevie says, 18, Your Honour. Okay.
I was 18. I had turned 18 about 7 days beforehand.
Okay.
In the long ago.
The before times.
Yes.
I mean, in all fairness, I was really late to the party on just partying in general, you know.
Yeah. No, I'd been on like the wine and stuff at home, but
Jesus wept. I hate the Apple keyboard so much. I spelled info wrong. I put in INFI, and I was trying to go put the cursor there so I can delete
don't
the
tap
I.
on it. Don't tap on it. Swipe
Yeah.
to drag the cursor into it.
I'll have
It's
to try.
crap.
Yeah. I get it. You're trying to correct me to the at part because that's the end of the word, but I'm trying to tap there because I've misspelled the word. But adamant. IT. Right.
Please stop doing that before you start typing the password.
Password 123.
Capital A, lowercase z, hash,
Exclamation mark.
octothorpe.
Right. Stomach empty. Yes, absolutely. How did you know? Says Carthor.
I can't remember what I was setting up the other day, but it demanded that I change the password like 3 times during the setup process.
I see.
So I just had password 1, password 2, password 3. Password must now have a special character. Password 3, hash. Why is this not my mobile phone? Why is this a mouse?
Ooh. LastPass would like to send you notifications. Why though? No. Why do you need to send me notifications?
So it can autofill. Because if I remember correctly, it has to autofill via the notifications.
Disgusting. All right, I'll turn that back on.
From
Yes.
memory.
Let's enable autofill. Yeah, you're right. I've just done the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Gross. Dun.
And then also I think you can change the autofill provider as
Yeah.
well somewhere. But yes.
I think that's done. Yep, all right. Cool. Fasten your seatbelt, says LastPass. 3 out of 5 skills mastered. Okay. There we go. There is my LastPass.
If this was
Please don't hack me.
If this was EA, it would be 3 out of 5 skills unlocked. Unlock 6th skill with, and then just credit card box.
Yeah, pain. All right.
Oh, it's not even a split keyboard. What is this?
Oh, don't give me the split keyboard, that nonsense. It's terrible, man.
What? What's wrong with split keyboards?
That's for nerds like Teltac.
Or people who are typing on a large device.
Firephone says, Caradog, are you running an iPhone? No, Caradog's got a Google Pixel Fold.
I have one of those, yes.
Yeah.
I also have a Pixel 9 Fold. Nope. 9 Pro Fold. There we go.
Yes.
However, yes, I do have an iPhone 2020 SE.
Yeah, I've been trying to set this up
which is my experience of using one.
Mm.
Shared items.
Yeah.
Why are your shared items wrong?
There's 2 BT accounts. There's my home account and there's the business account, and that might be a bit
Then
screwy.
why has your home account got your info at address in there?
Bert, you're shouting again, Bert. I'm trying.
How are
But
those
yeah,
forms?
I've been Yeah, however, I was kind of glad to get this iPad because I've been wanting to brush up on. I feel very out of touch with iOS, basically. And like, I've got an iMac on the front counter, but it's not signed into an iCloud account. And like, I can bungle my way through Apple services, but I've not used them in a long time.
How?
So yeah.
How?
What am I getting? Am I being charged £1 billion?
Yeah, $55.50 a month.
Ooh, I didn't think it was that high.
Yeah.
Like, is that like has been for a while, or is that out of contract now? Yeah, I thought it was like 45 or something like that.
Since at least June.
Ew. Yeah,
Since
that's
at
gross.
least January.
Yeah. Well, there you go then. Yeah.
November last year was £46.
Yeah, that's more like it. That's what I thought I was being charged.
That,
At some point it changed and I didn't realise. Like 46, that's what I thought I was. That's about what I thought I was paying. Because I thought I thought it was like 38 for broadband plus 12 for 38 for broadband plus like £7 or £8 for phone or something like that is what I thought I was paying. This is how young men live now. All the technology and an indoor life. Yeah. I don't want to touch grass. Touching grass is hard work. You need to go with Bitwarden, my friend. What is this? That sounds like antivirus.
No, it's a password manager.
Oh, fair enough, yeah. I do want to switch out from LastPass just because they've been owned like 3 times. I don't think any of their outages have actually affected me, but
yeah,
the fact that they've had some compromises is kind of like, yeah, time to go. But it's effort to switch.
I mean, it's also kind of a case of as long as the passwords themselves aren't.
Yeah, well, that's
And
just
the
it.
security on them is,
Yeah.
well regarded.
Yeah, in each one of the actual compromises, my understanding is that the passwords themselves were not compromised.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a case of like, okay, like this isn't ideal, don't get me wrong, but I don't have to change passwords, so does it actually matter? Bitwarden is great as you can self-host it. Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting, yeah. Like, there is a world in the future where I want to host my own cloud, because I think that's a very interesting concept, because like most of our primary beef with cloud services are that it's someone else's computer, it's someone else's services, and having your own cloud kind of solves most of those problems. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in that as a concept. Very simple with Bitwarden, export and import. Okay, fair enough. OwnCloud is a Synology NAS. Oh man, I don't want a Synology. All I know about them is that they work for a couple of years and then they die and you just have to buy another one. Synology are like the, Synology are the Sonos of the NAS world. It's great until it's unsupported and then you're just shit out of luck. That's my understanding of Synology. Passwords are so 90s. Passkeys are the hot item for the cool kids. Just hope it never rains in your cloud. I mean, this is assuming that you keep backups, because you keep backups, right? But yeah. OwnCloud is building your own server. Yeah, absolutely. I would run a server for that. That's the point. That's the idea. But that's something that's not really been viable, but with the miracle of fiber to the premises and a minimum of 100 megabit upload speed, suddenly running your own server actually makes a lot of sense, because you've got the upload for it to actually function. Like I've got 20 megabit upstream at the moment, and that's not too shabby, but I wouldn't run a server off of that. That's fine for running a game server for you and a couple of mates, but I wouldn't want to have to do all of my cloud hosting off of that. But if I had 100 meg upload minimum, sure, I'd run my own cloud off of that. You could also build your own TrueNAS. Yeah, this kind of thing would be more in the line of things. So yeah. You'd also have to, you would have a built-in backup on your own server. Yes, exactly, because again, backup. You can also set up a proper RAID array and swap out disks when needed. No, Ion! RAID is not backup. RAID is not backup. Repeat the mantra after me. RAID is not backup. This is not open to discussion. Some LastPass passwords were compromised, but it was a targeted attack on big people. Fair enough.
Certain people in a completely different setup with, yes.
Yeah.
Womp, womp.
What?
I went to message BT just, I'm going to leave. We can't help you with this.
I see.
And I was like, okay. Womp, womp.
You can use RAID as part of a backup solution, but it is not a backup. Well, yeah, an external hard drive is part of my backup solution as well. RAID is redundancy. Redundancy is not backup. RAID stops your system from going down if a hard drive fails. It does not mean you don't lose. It does not mean that you don't lose data. So yeah. Floorlamp says, I've got a single NUC running Home Assistant, Nextcloud, and Vault Warden. Absolutely perfect. That sounds like a great setup. That's the kind of thing that I want to run. But yeah. RAID is not a backup, but we back up to a RAID. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So yeah.
Ah, free electricity.
Cool.
Can I interest you in 1.21 gigawatts?
You can interest me in new broadband. So what's the plan? Am I signing up for broadband
what's
today?
the plan? I need a Mr. Man to message me.
Okay, yeah.
So we can get you some sweet VoIPs.
Yes, because we've decided that I need to export my phone number, don't I? Yeah.
You could probably do something else, but it would also mean that you would end up with potato internet.
Yeah.
And the entire point of this is to de-potato the internet.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't mind if the broadband goes out for a couple of days. I can deal with that. But the phone number has to stay up. That's the... no.
It has to remain accessible in the future.
Because if
it has to remain owned by you.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I lose access to the phone number, then that probably means that I've just lost that phone number.
Probably.
And that's not an acceptable situation. So TLDR is... So we're going to talk to your friend and see if he can get me cheaper VoIP. And
yeah, it's like £2.50 or something like that.
That sounds an awful lot cheaper than £12 a month. So yeah.
But it's also £2.50 and here's a lorry. It fell out the back.
I see. £2.50 is £2.50, and I'll take £2.50 over £12 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
per month, £2.50 per month.
Yes. £2.50 out of the back of a lorry a month, sure. The point is, it's cheaper than £12 a month. Yes, I will certainly accept such an offer, and we will go with that. If he turns around and says, I can't help you, then I'm going to reply to this chap from the VoIP store or whatever it was and say, yes, thank you, please make it all happen. Because
please transfer my number and ensure that I continue to own this number.
Yes.
And that I continue to access this number.
Yes.
My access to this number will not be impinged, right?
Indeed. That is the contingent of our business agreement. If I lose access to this number, then you have voided our contractual agreement and I will no longer require your service. So yeah.
And I will feed you to the sharks.
Yeah.
With
no
laser
cider
beams
today.
on their
no
head.
cider today, but we've got mead. Do I not seem drunk enough to you? Because trust me, I'm pretty drunk.
How do I multitasking? Oh, that's how I multitasking.
I see.
Wait, what's the other multitasking? On macOS. Because you've got the 3-finger swipe up that gives you this one.
Yeah.
Isn't there a pinchy one that gives you some sort of multitasking view as well?
No, pinch just gives you Launchpad.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
thinking of 3-finger swipe to go between virtual desktops?
No. I thought there was some pinching thing you could do that.
Oh,
moved your windows around like that on a single desktop.
3-finger swipe is show windows, 4-finger swipe is show desktop. Oh, wait, 3 fingers up is show me all my windows, 4-finger splay.
Oh,
yeah.
4-finger
splay is show desktop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've daily driven a Mac. But
yeah. I was doing myself a confuse.
Yeah. Liam in Wales says Alt-Tab. You peasant. But no, that's a lot easier, yes.
I mean, to be honest, I just use Windows Tab.
Graham, try 4G internet. No. Because fibre is gigabit. Or up to. The glass is empty, Graham. I've had enough. Although that much being said, we've kind of drunk most of this. I wasn't intending to finish this. There's a lot left in there, if I'm honest.
Not that much.
Well, we're like 2.5 hours. We're at 3 hours. I have enjoyed this conversation in English.
The night is young.
I mean, I might take that home and finish it off tonight. But it depends on what I'm doing tonight. Like, if I jump on my Discord group and we're just going to play... we're just going to play Board Game Simulator, then no, I'm not going to finish that off. But, yeah.
But if there's a lucky someone online...
If I were going on VR chat tonight, then you're damn right I'd finish that off. So, yeah. However, we are at the 3-hour marker, so I think I've enjoyed this conversation in English. Because there is no actionable thing we can do today because we're waiting to hear back from your friend. So we're not signing up for Broadband right now. We're waiting to hear back from your friend because exporting my phone number has to happen before I can sign up for a new broadband package. So that's the next step.
Basically, something has to happen to the number to make sure the number is kept safe.
Yeah.
Because of the BTE.
Exactly. Because if I do anything else, there is a risk of me losing my number, which is an unacceptable outcome from the situation. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. If anyone's got any questions that I did not answer, please ask them again, and I'm going to read through the chat. You drank way more than you two during the stream. You're good. Yeah. However, Wild Floor Lamp, you have your Discord profile icon was the Fallout bobble dude drinking. And your gag is the "I spill my drink" voice line. So this is unsurprising. Quest 3 on Windows 11 24H2 okay now? Yes, it is unaffected. I was previously using a Windows Mixed Reality headset, which probably won't work on 24H2 without some work. But I now use a Quest 3, and I use Virtual Desktop. And Virtual Desktop... Yes, I am saying that correctly. Virtual Desktop is unaffected by what version of Windows you're running. You just run the Virtual Desktop client. And for those of you who don't know what any of that means, if you're running a Meta Quest 3 VR headset, there is a couple of ways that you can connect that to your computer for PC VR. The best way of doing it is to use an app called Virtual Desktop, and that streams Steam VR running on your PC to your Quest 3 wirelessly. The app costs $20, but once you have it, you have wireless streaming of PC VR to your Quest 3, which is the best way of experiencing it. The video compression is visible, but extremely acceptable. I can see the video compression because I know what video compression looks like. But if you don't know what video compression looks like, you won't see it. So yeah, it's a really sweet setup. I have a fully wireless VR from my PC, and it's a great setup. The only sucky part is that you have to have a power bank in your pocket because the Quest 3's battery lasts maybe an hour and a half if you're lucky. Yeah, it's pretty shit. So yeah, you're gonna need to have a head strap that has a built-in power bank to provide boost power, or you're gonna need a power bank in your pocket. I have a 10 amp power bank.
I thought that was going to be a two-stage thing. You need to make sure you have a headband with a battery pack in it, and then you need in your pocket a battery bank to power the battery bank to power the headset.
I mean, a typical headband power bank is probably going to be like 6 amp hours maybe. So that's going to get you up to like 4 hours runtime, if you're lucky. However, I've got a 10 amp hour battery bank in my pocket, and I get about 5 to 6 hours runtime. So yeah. Next video in the pipeline. I'm in two minds. I recorded a video a while back of me replacing the sticks on a VR controller, on a Quest hand controller. I might publish that because I've just put out a banger video, so I don't need to put out a strong video this week. And I've got a really strong video in the pipeline that is a HP board repair. So I'm probably going to put out the VR controller repair video this week. So I've got a banger video for next week. So that's the plan. All right. Is that a power bank in your pocket, or are you happy to see me? Finger guns.
I'm just on VR chat.
Yeah. Exporting your phone number. Is that not embedded in your SIM? This is a landline number, not a mobile phone. So it doesn't count. $20 is not that bad. Yeah, for a one-time payment fee, it's fine as far as I'm concerned. And that gets you a really good setup. Virtual desktop was really good. Weaselbox says, sorry, it was funny. I support you, Weaselbox. 4 hours is not that bad. Yeah, 4 hours will get you through a pretty big VR session. There's plenty of people that be like, oh, I need more time than that. You're an exception. Like, even my longest sessions in VR are rarely more than 5 hours. So yeah, having a higher requirement from that is an exception. James Mason says, is the phone situation requiring broadband supply threatening to cancel the line and your broadband if you move your number? So the issue I've got is that my current broadband connection is registered under a, let's say, misspelled address, which means that it's not eligible to upgrade to fiber to the premises. In order to get fiber to the premises, I would have to take out a new package. But the problem is that if you say, I want to take out a new broadband package, this is my existing number, they'll say, you're an existing customer. You cannot take out a new package. So I can't take out a new package, but I can't upgrade either. So I'm just stuck with fiber to the cabinet. So what we have to do is export the phone number to a VoIP service to get the number out, and then I can just cancel it completely and register as a new customer. That's the problem.
Using the correct address, which is the same address,
but spelled slightly differently.
But a different address.
Yeah.
But the same address. But a different address.
Yeah.
But the same address.
Yeah.
This is why it's complicated and difficult, and this is why it's not really something where you can.
It's very difficult to explain.
It's also the case of we haven't tried explaining it to anyone on the telephone because of the fact of we need to explain, hi, I need you to upgrade my line to something that my line isn't entitled to, and I need you to change my address to my address. And I need you to change it to the address that my address already is, and I need you to move my address to my current address. And it's a thing that will seem entirely suspicious and very weird to any of the people involved. And basically the only way you get that sorted is by talking to someone who isn't on the telephone. And I don't have any of that access at BT.
Yeah.
And the only other way you get that sorted is just cancelling the BT, signing up as a new customer with the correct address that has the entitlement.
As Firefin said, I need to break the package and build a new one. Basically that. However, doing that, I'll probably lose my number in the process. So the solution to that is to get the number out to a VoIP service, to get it out of the equation, and then I can just burn everything down and start it again. So yeah. What about someone that accidentally runs over your Exchange box so they have to rewire everything? I mean, that's not my problem. So yeah.
Yeah, that also wouldn't fix the problem.
No.
Because there is no physical problem.
Yeah.
There is purely an address entitlement problem.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the exact name of the thing is, but every address in the UK has assigned to it a entitlement that says this is the service that this address can get. So it can get a telephone line.
Yeah.
It can get ADSL1. It can get DSL. It can get DSL2. It can get VDSL. It can get VDSL2 Plus. It can get ADSL Max. It can get fiber to premises. And those are all different entitlements that get assigned to addresses. The problem is there are 3 addresses for this shop, with or without company name, and also just 2 which are identical, which are just 3B. The entitlements are different between those addresses, and explaining that to someone who doesn't know what entitlements are, or what the proper thing is, I can't remember what they're actually called, is very difficult. And it's a case of the only way you fix it is by selecting an address that looks exactly the same, but has a different authorization somewhere in the chain.
Yeah.
So yeah.
My friend has the same problem at his home address because my friend currently has a really sucky broadband, and his neighbours on both sides have fibre to the premises, and his ISP is telling him that he cannot get fibre, and he's like, my neighbours have fibre to the premises. Yes, you can get it to me. I know you can get it to me, but there's a magical string of words he needs to say to actually make that possible, and no one knows what it is. And I've got a similar issue, and yeah, so it's entirely likely that he has the same issue where he just needs to burn it all to the ground, cancel all of his phone line connections, and just register as a new customer to somehow fix
And also
that.
just carefully click through addresses, finding the ones that have the entitlements.
That's it. So it's a really awkward situation. It's extremely difficult to solve. And if you don't care about your phone number, it's fully solvable. But if you do care about your phone number like me, it gets a bit complicated.
Or if you just don't care about having a telephone service on it at all,
Yeah,
then
that
obviously
as
it's
well.
also very easy to fix as well.
Yeah. Like if I have this issue at home, it's a non-issue because I don't even have a phone plugged in at home.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's probably worth us checking your home broadband contract as well.
I want to do that at some point because it's entirely likely that I can get fibre to the premises for the same price. But
Well, if you're currently paying £55 a month in the shop, you're probably paying something similar at home because you've just not noticed.
Yeah, because I have a phone service at home because at the time when I signed up for it, you couldn't get broadband with no phone. Yeah. I did ask, but you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm paying for a phone service that just doesn't have a phone connected to it.
Yeah.
So not a doubt in my mind. So I'll end up upgrading that as well. That's just low priority.
Yeah.
The shop is higher priority just simply because I actually care about the number. So yeah. Good. Right. I have enjoyed this conversation in English. We're going to head on out. Post office doesn't set address. They kind of do, but that's part of it.
Yes, they do. It is not a physical addressing problem. It's not a postal problem. It is an entitlement issue. It is a what can this line have? What does it support issue? And the problem is there are 3 addresses, and only one of the addresses has actually been upgraded.
You could define this shop as 3B Salisbury Street. It could be 3B Talbot House, Salisbury Street. It could be Adamant IT, Salisbury Street. It could be Calypso Hairdressers, Salisbury Street. It could be Calypso Space Hairdressers, Adamant Space IT, Adamant 3B. Yeah. It's all the same building.
And also it could just be
there are about
3B.
5 different...
Yeah. And also it could just be 3B Salisbury Street and 3B Salisbury Street.
Yeah.
Because there were 2 separate telephone lines in here with 2 separate telephone numbers at some point in the history. Therefore, there are 2 address records.
One or more of those is entitled to fibre to the premises.
Yeah.
Good luck finding out which one.
Yeah.
That's the problem we're trying to solve, basically.
Yeah. And basically, we've found the ones that can purchase it, but it's keeping the number that makes any of it complicated.
Yeah. Good. See you tomorrow night playing Overtime. I will be finishing Dead Rising tomorrow on Twitch. I'll do the thing.
Have you installed Dead Rising 2?
No, I'll kick that off. I'll kick that off tonight or tomorrow morning. So yeah.
Good.
I will be finishing Dead Rising tomorrow and starting Dead Rising 2. So yeah. Andy ACS, who's been holding my hand through Dead Rising, has been playing a middle game that comes between the two of them on Twitch this afternoon. So yeah, I'm just going to check if he's live now, actually. If not, I'm going to link to his channel anyway. So just if anyone's been following my Dead Rising playthrough, then you can check him out. Twitch.tv/Andy_ACS. Are you live right now?
This is mature content.
Yeah, he's still live. So yeah, I'll link him in. He's still live playing Dead Rising Case 0. Other than that, you could also check out the...
that is not the chat.
Yeah. Otherwise, you could check out the VOD when he's finished. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. See you all soon. Goodbye.
Au revoir.
Yep, goodbye. Okay, I'm going to hit stop streaming.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We are leaving. Hit the button.